Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Depends on your time and your location. This is one of your own. Biafra TV, USB Research TV. The only thing we do here is to research and bring out to you to listen to it, to know the truth that is in the paper, not the truth that is in the mouth. Because Nanke from Nanya Bezioku, that is the truth of what we are doing. So I say, welcome this wonderful afternoon. Please, I urge you or endeavor to like and share and comments and bring another person. As I also wish you a happy Sunday. But remember, hashtag, I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. Hashtag, Nigeria must go. Biafra is a nation. Hashtag, Nigeria government free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Hashtag, Nigeria and Finland free Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister of United States of Biafra. Please endeavor to do that. As we move, we will start with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's prayer. Our own is to say, because all he said has been fulfilled in our own time. That is why he is the prophet of our time. We must respect him. I call him that respect fully. So please, as you join me, like, share, and comment.
If you sit down, push, and only a little poop comes out, you have what?
That your name may be hallowed by men, that we may bow at the mention of it, that we may offer every glory unto thee, that we may offer you every adoration and adulation, because there is none like thee. You fight our battles for us. Every blessed day you demonstrate through your kindness and your everlasting mercy that you are our Lord, our God, and our Creator. This evening we offer these your children unto thee. All over this very planet that you created, they are listening across the entire 24 time zones on this very planet where they inhabit. They are listening to your gospel this very evening, this gospel of redemption, a gospel of hope, a gospel of restoration, a gospel of renewal, this very gospel of freedom, this very gospel of emancipation as only you ordained. That this very gospel must be preached, that mankind may be set free from the eternal damnation of the creation of the British. My goodness me, I want to remain in the spirit, because we must worship heaven. We answer your name, O Lord of hosts. Everything about us is designed to offer glory unto thee. We have atoned for our sins last year. This very year we have not only atoned for our sins, we have spilled, we have shed blood, they have shed our blood. We have let our sacrifice be made unto thee. Even on the 30th of August, as we are being felled by the bullets of the enemy, by the workers of iniquity and of darkness, we remain very strong today to beckon upon thee, to ask you for your mercy and for your grace, to ensure that your kingdom is restored upon the face of the earth, that you can bring your healing hand to bear upon the life of those of them that you created for one singular purpose, and that purpose alone, which is to worship you in truth and in every honesty. Is there any way that we have erred? Is there any way that our ancestors may have sinned? We confess before a congregation of the whole of humanity to ask you, O Lord of hosts, to have mercy upon us. You must have mercy upon us. We have suffered enough. We have been subjugated enough. We have been tortured enough. We have been imprisoned enough. We did not do these people anything. Our only crime is to answer your name. Our only crime is to be born your children. Our only crime is to excel at everything that we place our hands into. Our only crime is to exhibit your glory and your blessing, which manifestedly is upon our lives every blessed day. That is why they want to kill us. That is why the British want to join those of them who don't know you to destroy your creation and your inheritance. You will not allow shame to befall your name. You will not allow the enemies to triumph over the lives of your children, because you created us to exist, to worship, to honor, and to praise you. That is exactly what we are going to do when this Biafra comes. It will come in truth and in every honesty, because we remain every blessed day. Chukwuabiama believe we're whiter than white and whiter than snow. Is there any way that we have sinned that you cannot forgive us our trespasses, to enable us to fulfill your own word, which was spoken thousands of years ago, that instead of what you promised not to come to pass, that heaven and earth will cease to exist? You opened your mouth to bless mankind to the coming of Yahweh Yeshua, who came here and said, let your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Those words can never be in vain, because they are anchored upon your holiness and your magnificence. That is why in the end we know that Biafra will come, that these children that we have given birth to all over the world, and their children, and their children, and their children, as long as they give birth to them and they are Biafrans, they will worship you in truth and honesty. Through this very work we are doing, mankind will come to understand you. Let your miracle be wrought in our lives. Let us witness and behold your magnificence, your holiness, your mystery, and your grace under our command. O Lord of hosts, we call upon you. We call upon you to heal. We call upon you to provide succor to those of them who are inconsolable. We ask you to come and strengthen those who are weak. We ask you to restore hope where there is hopelessness. We ask you for inclusion where there is destitution. We ask you for one brotherhood, one camaraderie, one bone, one blood, and one flesh of your children. The Efiks and the Bibios, the Izon, the Shekiri, the Isobos, and also those of them from Isoko. We are traveling all the way to the lands of Igala. We are moving on from there to Idoma, to Igede, to the territories of the Igbo land. All these places we dedicate unto thee. All these lands of yours, we ask you to cover it with your mercy, because Biafra will come, and when it does, we will dance on the streets. I'm telling you, by the time that we are done, humanity will think that we are mad, we are drunk in your glory, and rightfully so, because your kingdom will come to rest upon this very earth. That very kingdom is the unadulterated, non-negotiable sovereignty of the Republic of Biafra, that your will may be fulfilled in our time. All this we pray, all these we ask for, in no other name apart from that name that belongs to you. He said, my name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of indigenous people of Biafra all over this very planet, I tell you. I lead indigenous people of Biafra IPOB. So also do I command the armies of Biafra. They are fiercely loyal. They are loyal, I tell you, and doing the work that I expect them to do. I also direct Radio Biafra, not through any power which I possess or any extraordinary knowledge, But by your grace, O Lord, by your grace, we honor you and we adore you. I know that some people listening, including the British, may not understand what we are doing, but there is nobody in Britain that answers Nwachuku, the child of heaven. We do. Therefore, when we worship our Father, people should not try to be jealous. They should not feign ignorance or misunderstanding, because we are ancient people. We have been doing this for over 5,000 years, and will continue to do so until the end of time. To achieve that, ESN will give it to us. In the year of our Most High Elohim 2021. Now that's where we don't solve Israel. You were in number. No we gather in a mess. Nobody get Israel where Guzo seek. Otua can is where now you're no to account. I know one your boom or upon the Biafra. What's a sack of Bacano one in there? Can you Jenny looking and get bread and gossip? You need Pulani now, passing and more Pulani to do it or hands so that's when got to go to Matopla. Over Choplan to where Juaro saying no bottom car, they can go send you no bridge. We were Gosian de Gonium, no bottom get so say Jama Canyon at Jagonium Nachinek and Monkey, but he no bonana bundi prime milandiro. Nivanya ye tua, Onyam Nachinek and Nakakan Sindiro, Barahon, Ubudo Subusu, I can't see how we Barahon. Ndị terrorists na ndị bandits wetu ahụ na ala ha n'iyi dịka isi wee kwanye na nkwa n'oge ahụ ruo na ị ga-ememe na ndị niile bụ ndị mere ka ụmụ gị wee gbaa anya mmiri. Onye nwe anyị na Chineke nna nke bi n'igwe anyị wee were ụmụ gị ndị a niile n'otu n'otu, onwe onye ọbụla nke anyị na-ahapụ wee nyefee gị n'aka. Anyị wee na-echeta ndị nọ n'ụlọ nga, wee na-echeta ndị nọ n'ụlọ iko n'obeghị ihe ọbụla ha mere, ndị niile bụ ndị nwe ike kpọtara ndị ụmụ ekwensu ka ha wee gbagbuo onye nwe anyị na Chineke na ị ga-abụrụ anyị ọbụ ebe nwe ike nọ na ndị otu ya. Ị ga-abụrụ anyị ọbụ n'ihi na ịbụ Chineke nna, ị ga-abụrụ anyị ọbụ ebe nwe ike na onye nwe m. N'otu aka anyị isi ụmụ ahụ na ndị ọjọọ niile bụ ndị kpọtara ndị Fulani Janjaweed n'ala nsọ gị, onye nwe m na Chineke nna nke igwe, ndị dị etu a bụ ndị ga-ekpochapụ n'otu n'otu. Ị gaghị emere ha ebere. Anyị na-agba akwụkwọ n'isi ha nna nke igwe n'otu ahụ onwe ha si were mụta ụmụaka, n'ihi na nwa ike mụtara nwoke mụta nwaanyị. Otu aka akụ nwa ha si wee mụta nwoke mụta nwaanyị, ikpeazụ wee mụta nwoke wee mụta nwaanyị, nwoke wee mụta nwoke wee mụta nwaanyị. Nna nke ebere dị ngọzi ka ha si wee mechie ezinụlọ ndị ọzọ. Onye nwe m na Chineke nna nke bụ n'igwe sikwoke wee mechie ezinụlọ ndị dị etu a, n'ihi na onwe ihe ọbụla siri anyị na ha na-abụ nna nke ebere. Otu osisi anyị ga ka anyị na-aga, onwe onye ọbụla napụrụ ihe ya n'ike. Anyị anaghị ezu ochi, anyị anaghị agba ama. Nna nke dị nsọ, ị ga-eku n'iwe lụọrọ ndị gị ọgụ. Onye nwe m na Chineke nna nke igwe, obodo ekwesị bụ usu ka ị ga-ala n'iyi dịka ekwesịkwa anyị na ngwa. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi, ọ bụ gị onwe gị bụ onye hiwere Eastern Security Network, ọ bụghị mmadụ dị ndụ, n'ihi na ọ bụ isi anyị ozi anyị wee sie ndị dị ndụ. Iwe si n'oge ahụ erule mgbe nnụnụ ọbụla ga-alaghachi na-akwu onye nwe m na Chineke nna nke igwe na a ga-enwe ndị nchegecha ala nsọ gị. Iwe si etu wee mee ka ha wee guzosi ike. Ezi ebube dị ngọzi, ihe a ga-enye gị akọ ha onye nwe m na Chineke nna, ị ga-ekpuchi gị na ị ga-enye ndị mmụọ ozi gị iwu ebe ụmụ gị ndị dị etu ahụ bụ ndị nche, bụ ndị volunteer. Anyị wee guzosi ike n'isi ụmụ gị ndị a niile bụ ndị na-eche ala nsọ gị bụ Biafra. Onye nwe m na Chineke nna nke igwe wee na-asị na ndị mmụọ ozi gị ga-agba ha okirikiri wee chebe ụtụtụ ehihie abalị. Onweghị atụmatụ ọjọọ ọbụla nke ndị iro ga-emetụta ha n'ahụ nna nke igwe, n'ihi na mmeri bụ nke anyị. Ị ga-arọpụtara anyị ngwa agha ezi ebube, ị ga-arọpụtara anyị ngwa agha onye nwe m. Na ndị Fulani Janjaweed bata ala nsọ gị, anyị sụọ ha akwụ nna nke ebe anyị rụọ ọbara ha wee tọjụọ ala, n'ihi na abụ ekwensu. Ọ ga-abụ na ekpeta masị na Biafra ga-eguzorịrị. O nweghị ihe ọbụla mmadụ dị ndụ pụrụ ime ebe Biafra ga-eguzo, n'ihi na ihe ọbụla idere n'idewu ya. Anyị ga-aja gị mma wee too gị, gọzie aha nsọ gị ma bulie gị elu site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi ka anyị na-arịọ. Ise. Once again, I welcome each and every one of you this evening, morning, afternoon, night, depending on where you are. We are not able to broadcast live on Facebook because Facebook proceeded to tell me, or in fact, they actually said to me that I will not be able to broadcast on my Facebook page. That is the reason. The fight we're engaged in is not of a carnal nature. It is very, very spiritual. That is why the same Efulefus that fought Ojukwu, the same idiots that is scattered all over the zoo that fought Ojukwu's restructuring, they gave birth to their children. And today, those idiots, some of them, of course, fathered by Fulani Janjaweed, are fighting us. Because Biafra is the kingdom of heaven upon the face of the earth. The beginning of the genuine liberation of every black person on the face of this very earth. Therefore, Lucifer doesn't want Biafra to come. Agents of darkness in the zoo and beyond do not want Biafra to come. Neo-colonialists in British Foreign and Commonwealth Office do not want Biafra to come because they know what Biafra portends. They know that with Biafra, a Fulani, ordinary Fulani boy will be able to go to school and be free. They know with the coming of Biafra that entire Black Africa will be liberated from decades, or should I say centuries, of unsolvable hardship and poverty. They understand that very well. That's why they are fighting. When you see the likes idiots like Nwike and Omahi, they are doing the job of the devil. They are working for Lucifer, for darkness. The same thing that Oba Biaseka did against Ojukwu, that is what Nwike and Omahi are doing, all of them, your so-called governors. Have they been able to defend you against Fulani Janjaweedism? When Nimbo was attacked, Ozowani was attacked by Fulani headsmen, all these Efulefus, what did they do? They did nothing. When people were being murdered and raped and slaughtered in Edo State, what did the governor then do of Edo? Nothing. Even right now, Delta State is under siege. What have they done? Nothing. Therefore, I find it very, very distressing that human beings that claim they are educated or have a semblance of exposure to enlightenment and reason will rise up one morning to side the governors. I find it very, very shocking. These are the things that you must understand and bear in mind. That the same difficulties Ojukwu encountered against Igbo people especially, and some Efulefus from Ijoland, from Ibibio, are we all not suffering now? Who is having fun? I'm asking you. Cancer, the river that sold out to Biafra, is he not dead? Was he not killed by a Fulani man, by a Janjaweed? Who are the people that own the oil wells we have today in Ijoland, in Ogoniland, in Ibibio, in Anang, in Efik land? I'm asking them, the idiots that refer to themselves as South-South, I want to ask you a simple question. How many oil wells do you have in your land? That was what Ojukwu was fighting for. So you can have access to your own resources, but out of your stupidity, your idiocy and foolishness, you sided Abacha, you sided Muhammad, you sided the Obasanjos of this world. Today, all the billionaires you have, not one single Biafran is among them, not one single Easterner. The only thing that you idiots specialize in is fighting those who are fighting for your freedom. That is how foolish some of you are. You are foolish beyond redemption. After fighting Ojukwu from 67 to 70, how is your life today, I ask you?
How is the life today?
How is your life?
All he said, I hope all has happened in our own eyes. Whatever that comes out from the holy man, Nandekan, all the prophecy, tell me one that has never happened. He said Biafra will be a country. Are you not in the list of Biafra as a country? Are you not a citizen of United States of Biafra? Are you not? Tell me that's one thing that he prophesied that come out of his mouth has never happened. Today in Nigeria, both rich and poor, are they enjoying? Are they doing kidnapping? Banditry is taking over Nigeria? The world must understand that why we exit is not that we are complaining. It's because it's our right to live life. And in this world, no country is multicultural country in the world. America is not a multicultural country in the origin of America as a country. What makes a country multicultural is when you have your country with your culture, with your law. Those that we come from different dimensions of the world is what makes a multicultural country. Nigeria is a multicultural country where different denominations with different languages, with different tongues match up together. Their forefathers, not founding fathers, agree that Nigeria is not a country. The mistake of 1914 from the British and the Northerners, the Northern people, was why people are being kidnapped, cut off their head today in Yoruba land. Biafran people, the Igbos, are no reason why your head and your sons and daughters are being kidnapped, sent into bush and cut off their head. We are never your problem. If there is no amalgamation of 1914 by Pharaoh Lugard and his men, nobody will kidnap you today. If we remain in the way we are in 1884, go and check that history. The treaty, the white man, the British signed with Yoruba people as a nation. The treaty they signed with the old Eastern region as a country. They did sign with the North as a country. If British did not destroy it with their selfish interest, the greediness in their hearts, and the evil and the sucking blood in their heart that they appreciate so much, nobody will kidnap you today in Yoruba land. You could have those in the Niger Delta that the oil well, they do not hold anyone in their hand today that are claiming that this oil well belongs to us, that we are people of Niger who have oil. Did any of the citizens, rather, what you are doing there, you are doing a common security guard. When a new president entered a signed contract with another person, today they might sign with Tompolo, tomorrow with Asad Okobo, next month with another different person. It's not what we are passing through. Are we your problem? The Biafrans are never your problem, but we are your solution. We are what? The solution. Have you asked yourself why that when British decided to invade Nigeria, they decided to destroy the cultures and the beliefs of Yorubas, some of them, and destroy this old Eastern region entire, the Biafran people? They destroyed everything about totally, and they never destroy any culture or any belief of this Sokoto Caliphate from 1904. What is your problem? You can't bend down to pick up what is your problem. Your problem is an Igbo man. Your problem is Biafra is your problem. You don't know that you are suffering today. You are being kidnapped because of cutting the head, butchering people like animals today. It's because of Biafra not a country. If Biafra is a country, such a thing will not happen. That is why Ojukwu see it coming. And he tried to prevent it through a Aburi Accord. And the British called all the way from Lagos and destroyed their arrangement to Aburi Accord. If your Aburi Accord hold today, nobody will be dying today. Nobody will be being kidnapped today. The life we lost. They said in rehabilitation that we have ended the war. Since they ended the war, what have they built in the old Eastern region? You that are campaigning for one Nigeria, the so idiotic P2Bs, Nekagaris, Ngozigaris of the satanic of the P2B. That is not the solution. The house has been cracked from the foundation. It must be break down with bulldozer. And the bulldozer is those in the prison. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa Njoku. The president today is Okongozo Araboez, whether like it or not. Go and have a transformer. The only people you have that is fighting for you, the only solution is what you are turned against. What of those that if you try to sell that the problem is not the Fulanese, that you want to integrate it into the military for them? What happened in Afghanistan? And what of those that have given birth to with that same blood? Why we are still on the Biafra today? Because we was being given birth with the blood of BIAFRAS, our own country. That is why we are still here today. We are still talking. You can't kill a message with ideology. A messenger can pass away, but the message must continue. A messenger might pass away, but the message has to continue. And the message is choose those messengers who will deliver the message. If the message did not choose you, there's nothing you can do. If you're a messenger of the message, you can only rant and shout. At your time, you will deviate and stop. The message will leave you. The message might be managing you when there is no appropriate way to address the message or to send the message. That is why I give a common example. You might say that you want to travel today. You are traveling and you want to deliver a message in Lagos State. You enter a first bus. Whenever that first bus breaks down on the road, that means that the message is said, this messenger is not one to deliver me. Make use of your common sense, if you have. Because what makes you a human being is the ability for you to reason and reason, think and think. When you think, you think. We are not your problem, but we are the solution. And the truth always manifests at last. Nothing good comes easy. You must fight for everything good. And you must cherish and protect everything good before it can happen to you. I ask you a question today. All that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said has
but you want to avoid to go and get restructuring for all of you to make your lives better. The same way that the propaganda machine
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is fighting today to make your life better. And all you can do is talking against him and against the ideology. Simon Ekpa comes to help you as the message choose him to be a messenger. That's why I told you. You must follow message, not messenger. That's why in my page, I am just a messenger. Don't follow me. Follow the message I bring out and give to you. I might not be here tomorrow. Someone else might be here to deliver the message. Because this message must be delivered. Don't think that what I'm doing is the best way. No, it's not the best way. Another person can do this more than me. But I want to tell you that the message is managing me right now to deliver the message. So when you come, focus on the message. Don't look at my face. Don't think about me. Wait for the message to come. The problem of IPOB is that IPOB followed always a messenger. They refuse to follow the message. And the message decides to dump all of them. The message never suits those people who come, who was there before. The message is still moving. That is why it's ideology. The Biafran people is never a problem, but we are the solution in Africa, entire black race. We are the solution. And the solution right now is United States of Biafra Government-in-Exile. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in January 1st, 2021, his broker at Facebook refused him to be live, that he made it blank audio message broadcast, he said. Now we need to check the history of Yemen, Somalia, Syria. That is how Biafra to become a nation. And what was the history of Somalia? Say, whole Somalia. Syria, Yemen, Sierra Leone. What is the history of these 4 countries? They transition into a government in exile. That is how they become a country. After they have lost, or they redeclare their lost country, or they do declaration of their country. And you may ask yourself, many countries in this world that lost their country in the hands of the colonial master or in the era of where they are, what happened to them? They did what? All of them fly away from their territory and issue a redeclared of that country back in exile. And they stay some decade before they come back and take over their territory. The world transition must happen. They all started with organization name. Look at Syria, started with the name of organization. At a stage, Syria protested only for 2 years in their territory that turned into blood war, and people was being buried. What happened? The government flew away to France. They flew away to Turkey. They later flew away to Qatar for them to be country. And Mazani Kanu give a direction of that. So on that note, I am going to play the audio of Mazin Kanu asking us to replicant of the history of the Somalia, Syria, of the Syria and the Yemen and Sierra Leone. Listen to this audio voice quickly, very short.
The method in our madness. We are very, very strategic in terms of our approach, not just to the disintegration of the damnable zoological republic, but its disembowelment. I did promise you many years ago that by the time we are done with Nigeria, the name Nigeria will no longer exist. That is where we are heading to. And for us to be able to accomplish that, we need to recreate the scenario of Yemen, the scenario of Syria, the scenario of Somalia, in the northern part of the damnable zoological republic. And there is only one way we are going to achieve that.
What is their scenario that we need to recreate? That's why you have to check. And for over 2 days, we've been on Sierra Leone, so we've been on Syria. They want to look at 2 of them in general with our time. He said we need to recreate it, their scenario. And what is their scenario? That we need to recreate, we need to repeat this scenario. That is how Biafra, the only one way Biafra should be a country or be a nation. The creation of the Syria, Somalia, and Yemen, is it the creation of organization of IPOB, one family? Protest, we move. 1 million men march. Is it the scenario you are flowing a man who was being kidnapped 2021 June, and January 2021 he mentioned how what we can do to Biafra to become a nation? The scenario that we need to recreate, we need to implement for Biafra to be a nation. What is that? Can't you ask Google? They will tell you the history of how Syria become a country, how Somalia becomes a country, what happened in Yemen and Sierra Leone. Why can't you ask this simple question on your Google? And the only thing you can ask is, IPOB, one family, we are here, 1 million men march on a day of St. Patrick's Remembrance Day of their own culture, or in their own, what happened to them in the Iceland. What you can do is to come out and march. After that one on St. Patrick's Day, where are you? Again, on the street. What you adopted is, if any country has any culture, something to do, you will come out on protest. Is it how Yemen? Is it how Somalia? Is it how Syria? Is it how Sierra Leone in Africa becomes a country? The IPOB. All Biafra or all Biafrans. Mazen Kanu said we should take history of Somalia and Syria. I just want to pick only these two today. We need to replicate, we need to repeat what they did for us to have Biafra as a country. And what is the thing they did for them to have their own country? Is it what you are doing? Do they protest at all? Even if they do their protests, how many years did they protest? Somalia, after the Transitional Government in exile in African country, Ghana, Kenya, they never issued protest for one day. Do you know that? That is their history. Syria, only 2 years protest. They transition government in exile. They form a standard government in exile and issue their declaration of Syria as a country. I am asking you, your method of madness of protest must be stopped. No country in this world that lost their country, how they get it back is through what? Through protest. It does not exist. I challenge you to give me one country that lost their country, that the only way they achieve their country is by protest on the street. Syria protests for 2 years. Sierra Leone protests for only 6 years. Namibia protests for 3 months, 3 years and 10 months. Algeria protests for 4 years. They said, we have found out that these protests on the streets cannot give us what we want as a country, that we must transition into a government in exile. And we have to declare, or if you know one like Namibia or Algeria, they do declaration in exile. In all the movement of Algeria to become a country today, it took Algeria 32 years in exile in all. For Namibia to become a Namibia you are hearing today, it took them 30 years, 3 decades. For Syria to become a country, it took them protests 2 years, the transition, and they spent 12 to 11 years in exile before they come back and return and take over their territory. Somalia did not protest for 1 day. The history of Yemen will be last thing I will discuss, because the history of Yemen is the history that once Biafra exit, not divided into two, like what happened in Yemen. That is one thing that you must understand. Is it this your protest? And the Mazen and the Kanu said again, repeat it again. I go and check the Mazen and the Kanu broadcast. I give you dates. I am not here to pretend whatever I'm doing. It's in the open. It's not in secret courts. Check Mazen and the Kanu, January 1st, 2021 broadcast. Type it on YouTube and they'll give it to you. He said what I want to play out now.
The method in our madness. We are very, very strategic in terms of our approach, not just to the disintegration of the damnable zoological republic, but its disembowelment. I did promise you many years ago that by the time we are done with Nigeria, the name Nigeria will no longer exist. That is where we are heading to. And for us to be able to accomplish that, we need to recreate the scenario of Yemen, the scenario of Syria, the scenario of Somalia, in the northern part of the damnable zoological republic.
The scenario of Yemen we repeat in North. What is that? That Christians in the north, we have their country. Why the Sokoto Caliphate, Islamic agenda, we have their own. And we, the Biafra people, we have our own nation. That is the history as such. By what? How do they do it? Is it by protest? Is it by name of organization, IPOB, one family? Is it how they got their countries? In the modern 21st century of Syria, and also Somalia, in the modern day, he had him said it, that in this modern day, let us go to their history a little bit. I will play two, I won't say a word. I want to look at the history, then we'll now go into summarizing of it and analyzing it. You must stop this your madness and the barbarism. Call IPOB organization one family. Nobody's an IPOB organization anymore. We are the indigenous people of Biafra. Under what? United States of Biafra. That is the end point of your protest, because when the people of Syria transition to Government-in-Exile, the name of the organization dies and enter into Government-in-Exile. And the only Government-in-Exile the world knows right now is the one that issued a redeclared or declaration of a country. That is the one that exists in the eyes of the international global community. Their language is what? Government-in-Exile, not DOS. Your madness must stop. This your barbarism must stop. The attitude and your action is just that you believe that Nigeria, under the protests, under self-determination law, when a group of people are doing protests, the world will see it that under self-determination law of the United Nations Charter, Article 19 in bracket 5, it says self-determination is allowed. That people that feel that they are being intimidated and not being treated right, that they have to protest to ask the government of that country to stop treating them in a bad way, to treat them right. That is how the category of all protests that we are doing.
The method in our madness. We are very, very strategic in terms of our approach, not just to the disintegration of the damnable zoological republic, but its disembowelment. I did promise you many years ago that by the time we are done with Nigeria, the name Nigeria will no longer exist. That is where we are heading to. And for us to be able to accomplish that, we need to recreate the scenario of Yemen, the scenario of Syria, the scenario of Somalia, in the northern part of the damnable zoological republic. And there is only one way we are going to achieve that.
Now, let us go to the history. Say we need to recreate. Let us go into that and find out what is their history. Now, we are going to listen to their history. I will not say a word. I will play the first section. Then the second section, we will play and start analyzing it. Let us start with Syria. Let us go with Syria first. Listen, hear it. In a IPOB, in a BGC, in a MASOB, in a fallback bridge, criminals.
For over a decade, the term Syrian government in exile primarily referred to the Syrian interim government, SIG. However, following the historic collapse and fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime, the political landscape within Syria fundamentally shifted. The entities that once operated in exile or in restricted border zones moved directly into the capital to form a transitional state structure. 1. The pre-2024 structure, the Syrian Interim Government, SIG. From 2013 until late 2024, the primary internationally recognized opposition body acting as a government in exile was the Syrian Interim Government (SIG) Foundation, formed on March 18, 2013 by the Syrian National Coalition (SNC), an umbrella opposition alliance backed by various Western and regional powers. Headquarters. Originally forced to operate entirely in exile from Istanbul and Gaziantep, Turkey. After Turkey's military interventions in northern Syria starting in 2016, the SIG moved its physical base into Turkish-controlled pocket zones in northern Syria, centering its operations in the city of Azaz, Aleppo Governorate. Administrative role. While it lacked vast international sovereign enforcement, the SIG acted as a civilian authority in northern opposition-held pockets. It managed local administrative councils, ran schools and hospitals, and even issued civil documents to Syrian citizens outside regime control. Military wing. It was officially affiliated with the Syrian National Army, SNA, a coalition of Turkish-backed rebel factions. 2. The Great Transition, the fall of Assad. The status of the exile governance model changed permanently when a lightning rebel offensive spearheaded by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, alongside the SNA and other factions, successfully swept through the country and toppled the 53-year Assad dynasty. Following the collapse of the old regime, the external opposition bodies and internal military commands quickly shifted from alternative exile structures into an active, on-the-ground domestic transition. 3. The modern sovereign landscape in Syria. Syria is governed under a centralized, institutionalized transitional administration working directly out of Damascus. The administrative framework features several key elements: executive leadership and the constitution. The presidency, Ahmad al-Sharaa, formerly known by his militant moniker Abu Muhammad al-Jalani, was appointed as the transitional president to lead the nation through its state rebuilding phase. The Transitional Charter, an interim constitutional declaration, was signed into effect, establishing a robust presidential system. The transitional framework is designed to govern the country for a 5-year period, after which a permanent constitution is to be fully ratified and open national elections held. The cabinet. A 23-member transitional cabinet operates without a traditional prime minister, meaning the executive branch answers directly to the presidency. The cabinet includes a diverse makeup of ministers, including figures who served in technical government roles prior to 2011, alongside representatives from various ethnic and religious backgrounds, including Christian, Druze, Alawite, and Kurdish appointees. Administrative and security integration. Legislative Council. The old Assad-era parliament and security apparatuses were entirely disbanded and dissolved. A new People's Assembly, consisting of 210 seats, was established, with 2/3 of its members selected through regional electoral colleges and local committees, and the remaining third appointed by the president to ensure minority and female representation. The Kurdish territories, northeast. In early 2026, following a mix of localized military offensives and high-level structural negotiations, a major integration deal was struck with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF. Under this arrangement, the vast northeastern territories are being brought back under state authority, with thousands of Kurdish fighters systematically integrated into official brigades under the direct chain of command of the Central Ministry of Defense. Counter-terrorism operations. The transitional state assumes full domestic security duties, working alongside international partners, including the United States, to conduct joint security operations targeting remaining cells of the Islamic State, ISIS, in the desert regions. Summary of structural evolution. Feature. The exile period, 2013 to 2024.
Are you listening?
The transitional state, present. Primary body, Syrian Interim Government, SIG, the National Coalition. Transitional administration of the Syrian state, base of operations, Istanbul/Gaziantep, Turkey, and Azaz, northern border. Damascus, national capital. Territorial scope, restricted to localized border pockets in the north. Expanding across the majority of Syria, including integrated NE regions. Legal framework. Alternative opposition declarations. 5-year constitutional declaration.
I hope you listen to this number about Syria. Now, that is, Mazaka said, we need to replicate their history for Biafra to become a nation. What do you hear? They started with organization. They transition into a government in exile. After 5 years being in exile, they did what? They did declaration of their country. They did what? They did a full declaration of their country. And you had it here, they remain in exile in Turkey. Istanbul, and the other places that will be mentioned? Is it not what USB is doing right now? Who is the one that issued the declaration of United of Biafra? We are talking about the Syria that issued a declaration in exile. Now, check from 2013 to 2024, we did our own redeclaration. How many years of Syria in exile? How many years? He was hearing about Syria. Over all these years, Syria was in exile. They are in exile. They issue a redeclared because they declared the first one. The one in 2013 was not the first time. They issued the declaration in 1949 in France, in Paris, in France. Their first one. They lost it like us. When Ojuku declared our own in 1967 to 1970, we lost it. After Syria lost their own in 1949, they transitioned again in 2013. They all remained in exile. Their territory was being taken over. Do you also know that after they declared it, after they declared their country, that it did happen? They remain in exile over 12 years. Calculate from me, from 2013 to 2024, how many years? From 2013 to 2024, how many? This is a country that you are a person you claim is your leader, Mazi Nnamdi Okukano, the president of Biafra, said we need to recreate their history and repeat it in our own time. Through that, Biafra will become a full nation. What are you doing? Listen to that word. The word transition from organization into a government in exile. Are you only the one that have formed organization before? Why your own is taking too long? Namibia formed SWAPO. What happened? After 3 years and 10 months, with the name and the protests on the streets of South Africa and all over the world, what happened? They said, no, that this one is not doing anything about us. Let us transition into government in exile. As they transition in everything. After that, immediately transition to government in exile. After 4 years of Namibia, they issued their declaration. They issued their declaration of their country. As they issued the declaration, they succeeded having recognition, which took them 30 years in all before they can be able to went back to take over their territory. South Africa packed their belongings and packed away from their territory. They remained 30 years in exile. Algeria remained 30 years in exile. What of Ethiopia that lost their country in the hands of the Great Italy under colonial rule? They traveled to exile in London. They remained there for almost 20 years and they come back after recognition and take over their territory. This is how they get to their country back. They redeclare it back again with the name of the government in exile. What is your madness? Why are you so dumb? Why you cannot even reason? What makes you a human being? The ability to ask a question. Or when they buy snow quibo no nya jwadre fuzo. Jokam na jo. Through the what I have from Simon Ebanjoko. I even forget this program of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I never until I start asking, did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu ever talk about example how Biafra will be a country? And I burst into this Pascal broadcast. Go and check the broadcast by yourself. January 1st, 2021. It's in the YouTube. You can find it there. You can find it in Facebook. Just type Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, January 1st, 2021. And what are you going to find out is what I just played for you right now. 3 countries. We have to implement what they did, how they succeeded to achieve their country. That is what he told us to do. Are you doing that? And that has happened. That he asked us to do has happened. It has been done and dusted. What are you doing? What is your own? You turn again, become a virgin of our time. Until you realize the power, the law that Government-in-Exile, organization with protest, has no legal backup under international law. Government-in-Exile has a law backup under the international law. Go and check and verify by yourself. As I'm talking, ask questions. As I am talking, can you ask questions? Can you type? What is the history of how Syria became a country? Can you type, did Syria form Government-in-Exile? In what year? Can you type, what is the name of the organization that Syria used? Because that is what our leader, my own president, Mazen Nanikan, said we have to look at their history. That is how we become a country. I thought you everybody said you don't need to look at any country history. But he said, that's how we're going to do. You are not the first to form Government-in-Exile. Let me tell you, you are not the first. When we formed Government-in-Exile, we repeated the replicant of the history of those who formed Government-in-Exile before. That is why Mazakan said, the spiritual man said, we need to look at the history of Yemen, the history of Syria, the history of Somalia. Go and check the history of Sierra Leone in Africa. How all the people get to their country in Africa. You know, almost the majority of countries in Africa succeeded through Government-in-Exile. They form organization within a of time, 3 years, 4 years. They abandoned the organization. They transition. They did what they call transition. This transition happens in life. It starts from a family. From one person to two, a man who got married, it's transition. You give a oh, that is what they call transition of a family. School has transition. From primary school, from nursery to primary, from primary to secondary, from secondary to university, to graduation. That is called transition. Those who fought for their country also did what? Transition. They start from organization into a Government-in-Exile. Issue the declare. This word, pronunciation or proclamation or declaration, must be done whether old or new. America did their declaration 1776. Where 56 men penned their signature that we want to be free from British. That we only want our own country. Their people turn against, which is lead after the associated getting recognition and become a full country on their own for some years. What happened? Over 80,000 Americans run away from their country. Those betrayers. This is those that never want America to be a country. They all run away. I said what? They all did what? Run away. Do you know that? The same history is about to repeat. And you are here making noise, gossiping. You become a betrayer, automatic. When others are transitioning in exile. Opandeba is no Igbo na ụzọ amara ole egbe anya n'ọdụ. Ọ ya ka Maazị Nkanji wee gwa ka ele n'otu Syria to want their own country. Because when ka elekwa otu ndị Somalia to their own country. Because when Kailo Tundi, YEMEN wanted their own country. What happened in Yemen? Because when Kailo Tundi, Sierra Leone wanted their own country. Kaileni America is what can. And today, Anya Simon Ibn Joke Leia Chap. Mnano here, bro. No, in the name of IPO, you got a G. No, government in exile, only the option. Only one way, only one option you have. That is only option you have is what? Government in exile. I will urge you before we proceed. Please, I want you to like and share the program. If you never do so, please don't be stingy of hitting only the like button. It doesn't remove anything from you. And it's not taking away, it's not taking you away from the program. It's not taking you away from the program. Like and share the program. Let's Biafrans hear the message. I said, don't share me, share the message. Follow the message, don't follow the messenger. That is the things I want you to follow up. Let us tell ourselves truth. Why Biafra has never become a country is because of those who pilot their failed Biafras over this year never knew that they want that Biafra should be a country at all. None of them know the roads. None of them know the history of Yemen. The only man who knows the history of Yemen is who? Ma Simon Ibn Joke, who put it the only way is government in exile. Let us go through this way. You see, when he was showing her in the system, that this is, look at this, he knows what it's all about. Simple, like Robert Tobia want to know that something will happen. The history. The history. That is the only way we can have Biafra. That is the only way Biafra should be country. It's not by what you think and how you feel. It's by the reality on ground. What is the reality? That Biafra should be country. Nothing, no other way around again. Now, listen to the history of Somalia. Listen to that. Are you only the one who formed an organization for the first time in the world to achieve a country? You don't know what you want.
When discussing a Somalia government in exile that achieved international recognition.
When discussing a Somalia government in exile that achieved recognition, you see how the research bring it out. Oh God.
International law and historical records point directly to two sequential overlapping structures, the Transitional National Government, TNG, and the Transitional Federal Government, TFG. Following the 1991 collapse of the Siad regime, Somalia descended into factional civil war with no central authority. Rather than starting domestically, the internationally recognized sovereign state structures of Somalia were explicitly built, institutionalized, and operated in exile, primarily in Djibouti and Kenya, before they could safely relocate to Somali soil. 1. The Transitional National Government, TNG, 2000 to 2004. The TNG was the first framework to successfully reclaim Somalia's legal personality on the international stage after nearly a decade of total statelessness. Creation in exile. It was established during the Somalia National Peace Conference held from April 20th to May 5th, 2000, in Arta, Djibouti. Because Mogadishu was entirely carved up by rival warlords, the entire administrative structure, including the selection of a 245-seat parliament and the election of President Abdiqasim Salad Hassan, happened on foreign soil. International recognition. Despite controlling only small pockets of the capital upon its initial return, the TNG was immediately granted full de jure recognition by major international bodies. It took over Somalia's vacant seats at the United Nations, UN, the African Union, AU, and the Arab League. Challenges. The TNG's lack of domestic physical control, fierce opposition from neighboring Ethiopia, and an inability to collect internal tax revenue eventually caused it to go bankrupt, leading to the next evolution of exile governance. 2. the Transitional Federal Government, TFG, 2004 to 2002.
Of
The
yesterday
TFG succeeded
here,
the TNG and is the most prominent,
2004
structurally
yesterday.
comprehensive model of a recognized Somali government, starting its operations completely from exile. Establishment in Kenya. The TFG was formed in Nairobi, Kenya, in October 2004, under the auspices of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. The Transitional Federal Parliament met in Nairobi to adopt the Transitional Federal Charter and elect Military Commander Abdullahi Yusuf Ahmed as the transitional president.
Are you hearing it?
Operating from abroad. For nearly a year, the entire executive cabinet and legislature operated out of hotels and conference centers in Nairobi. They drafted administrative laws, held diplomatic meetings, and managed sovereign affairs from outside Somali borders because Mogadishu was deemed too dangerous due to the rise of warlord coalitions and the Islamic Courts Union (ICU). The phased return. 1. In 2005, the TFG physically moved from Kenya to Somalia, but could not enter the capital. It set up a temporary administrative seat in the provincial cities of Baidoa and Jowhar. 2. In December 2006, backed by a controversial military intervention by Ethiopian troops, the TFG finally entered Mogadishu and established its administrative core at the Villa Somalia Presidential Palace. 3. How international recognition was maintained. The strategic brilliance of both the TNG and TFG models relied heavily on prioritizing institutional statecraft and international legitimacy over immediate domestic dominance. Sovereign legitimacy instruments. Control of legal assets. By holding international recognition, these governments in exile maintained exclusive control over Somalia's overseas diplomatic missions, passport authorizations, and foreign central bank assets. Monopoly on foreign aid. International financial bodies and donor countries routed all humanitarian, developmental, and security aid exclusively through the transitional government's ministries, starving domestic rebel factions and warlords of official diplomatic resources. External security mandates. Because the TFG was the recognized sovereign entity under international law, it possessed the unique legal authority to invite foreign stabilization forces into the country. This provided the legal basis for the African Union Mission in Somalia, AMISOM, to deploy thousands of troops to physically protect the government administration as it transitioned from exile to domestic control. Summary of the exile to domestic path. Feature. Transitional National Government, TNG. Transitional Federal Government, TFG. Exile Hosting Nation. Djibouti, ARTA Conference 2000. Kenya, Nairobi Negotiations, 2004. Key leaders. President Abdikasim Salad Hassan. President Abdullahi Yusuf Ahmed. Sovereign status. Fully recognized by UN, AU, and Arab League. Inherited full international recognition and UN seating. Ultimate outcome. Laid the structural foundation, but suffered financial collapse. Successfully relocated inside Somalia. Formally transitioned into the permanent federal government of Somalia in 2012.
I hope you listen to that. That is the history. My president, Maznan, can assure that this is how Biafra should be a country. This is the history, how Biafra should be a country. And that is why you say we need to recreate their history. Are you creating the history of Somalia? The history of Syria? Which one are you doing? Or are you on the side of protest? Is the only thing you can do. Somalia never protest for one day. They're straight away into Government-in-Exile. I will play two of them again. Then before I will play it straight. So if you want to record, you can record and send to any group you like. You can just record it. You can click on your WhatsApp and record these audios. Send it out. This is what is holding us. There is, you see, all these betrayers around us is not holding me to have Biafra say a country. Because in the document of recognition, they are not included. All the things they are doing has happened somewhere. The world knows that when you declare that the history must repeat. Before I further continue, I must read those in the comment section. Please bear with me. I always do it like this, then I go to comment section. Let us start. Our sister Juliet is the first person today. I see you, my brother. Amadi Shigozie. Hashtag I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra. That is good. And I did it with our Western time. Hashtag Nigeria must go. Biafra is a nation. That is the game we are into. Then we also have you here. James Chigozie, I read only from here. Hashtag I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. Hashtag Nigeria must go out of Biafra land. In Jesus' name, amen. He said, thank you so much. Now, we have our brother also here. Barak, now this is your name. I don't want to murder this your name, honestly. I said, I am a citizen of United States of Biafra, and Operation Nigeria Must Go is active in the 40 states of Biafra land. God bless Mazi Shino, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, PM, DPM, and all Genu Biafrans. Defend yourself, Biafrans, for sure. Thank you. That is a wonderful comment from you. Thank you. Then James Chigozie said, my fellow Biafrans, they will more grace upon guys. Happy Sunday all. Let us hear Sunday teaching. Hey, yeah, that is a wonderful one. Thank you. Ushe Ejiofor, please. I see Keneze, my own brother. Thank you so much for being happy Sunday to you. Hashtag I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. That is who we are. That is my code. Thank you for that. Then Uche Ejiofor, I know why I greeted you first. You are a strong person. Hashtag I am a citizen of United States of Biafra land. USBG. I know you very well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Joshua, you see the one? Joshua, no, I see how I removed this second one. Hashtag I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. Hashtag Nigeria must go out of Biafra territory. He said, yes, that is it. Then he also compared the mission here. Hashtag Nigeria must go out of Biafra land. He said, oh, Chibuzede, you are the first person who stand on the protocol, on existing law on this page. Have it from me. Hashtag I am a citizen of United States of Biafra Nation, USB. That is who we are. If you don't read your comments, that means you did not stand on the existing protocol. Chibuzede said, hashtag Nigeria must go out of Biafra Nation because Biafra was redeclared on 29th November 2024. Remind them. Yes, I can read this one, which is your fault because I have read hashtag. Happy Sunday to you, read Biafra TV. Thank you for your good job, your good work to Biafran's people. Thank you so much for always being here also. Thank you. I greet, no. I see happy, mommy, happy you may. I stand on my mandate, I stand on my mandate, USB. Close what we are doing here. Thank you so much. Then I see you, Ako, Mirioyi. Because of the name of our DP, that is why I read this comment. Thank God for my Simon, Eban Okongozi Arabe, DPM, USBG. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, forever. Tomorrow we move. Thank you so much. We are looking for the right comment. Yeah, gift. Okay. Hashtag I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra. Thank you. He so said hashtag Nigeria must go. I am not reading leave. Nigeria must go out of Biafra land. I see my brother Ekeneze. My brother, you are the only one that knows what it's to get this freedom. No, it's Mazan and Simon has already know. We are just doing upon what they did. That's what I'm doing here. So the kudos goes to them that brought us up. Yes. Victory. I am a citizen, Victor. I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. And he said here, hashtag Nigeria must go. Short word, I take him. Happy Sunday. Biafrans, we read that one because we have started on this protocol. Official AJ, Chris Biafran son. That is, your comment is top notch. Thank you for standing on my protocol. Hashtag, I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra Nation, USB. That is who we are. Thank you for that. US government is here already to stand forever, no going back. Thank you. Also said US government is our government. Yes, so you are right on that. And also said USB nation, it is our only hope. Yes, so thank you. Hashtag Nigeria must go. Thank you for that. Hashtag Nigeria leave Biafra land now, because we have made it. He showered us with love emoji. Thank you so much for that. But we must move. We must move. He also said here, great Biafrans, I greet you. I greet you all. Ndioma. Thank you. Uche, you see. Uche. And here we also goes. Thank you. Please, Biafran song. Read Biafra TV. Afternoon, sir. Happy Sunday, sir. Omo Biafra. Is still greeting us. And he also said, use USB. Yes, I see you. It was a blessing. I'm not reading that message. The message I read here, Ben K, hashtag, I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. That is the first message I want to see. That is the first message I love. That is my happiness. Hashtag, Nigeria must go out of Biafra nation. Thank you for that. And Ben K said here, hashtag Nigeria free Mazen Nandekano. Thank you for that. That is where we stop for all the comments for now. So we're gonna move out from here. Then we proceed on our program. Now listen to the two history of words. Before I play the history, listen to voice of Mazen Nandekano, so you know why I'm playing the voice. I am not just playing that voice just for playing. No, listen to this. This is what makes me to do this research. What I heard from him is why I did my research. So listen on this. I say, let me check why do we need to repeat the replicant of these countries for us to achieve Biafra as a nation. So I believe in all he said. So let us find the audio back. That's why am I playing it? For you to know why you have to listen to the program, and why the program is very important to us, because of all this history. He asks us to do what? To repeat. He asks us to do what? To repeat all this history. And those history is what we needed to know that will help us to achieve Biafra as a country. That is why we are playing. That is why we want you to listen with us. And once you listen, pay attention. Be thinking and be looking at what USB is doing with your full out mind, so you may understand that the only country you have that's based on Mazen Nandekano, if you are listening to this and doing it, you are repeating the history. That is what we are doing. So listen.
The method in our madness.
I hope you can hear it from here.
We are very, very strategic in terms of our approach, not just to the disintegration of the damnable zoological republic, but its disembowelment. I did promise you many years ago that by the time we are done with Nigeria, the name Nigeria will no longer exist. That is where we are headed. For us to be able to accomplish that, we need to recreate the scenario of Yemen, the scenario of Syria, the scenario of Somalia, in the northern part of the Government-in-Exile Zoological Republic. And there is only one way we are going to achieve that.
I hope you had it. Did you hear the audio? What he said we should do. And the only one way to have Biafra as a country is by repeating this scenario of this country, the history of these countries. And I ask you, what is the history of these countries? Their history is what I am playing out to you. Now, listen to that history that Madam said we have to recreate. For me, I said it in a common word, that we have to repeat this history. We have to maintain this history, that through this way, we will also achieve our own country called Biafra. So listen to those history. Listen to them.
For over a decade, the term Syrian government in exile primarily referred to the Syrian interim government, SIG. However, following the historic collapse and fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime, the political landscape within Syria fundamentally shifted. The entities that once operated in exile or in restricted border zones moved directly into the capital to form a transitional state structure. 1. The pre-2024 structure, the Syrian Interim Government, SIG. From 2013 until late 2024, the primary internationally recognized opposition body acting as a government in exile was the Syrian Interim Government, SIG. Foundation, formed on March 18, 2013 by the Syrian National Coalition, SNC, an umbrella opposition alliance backed by various Western and regional powers. Headquarters. Originally forced to operate entirely in exile from Istanbul and Gaziantep, Turkey. After Turkey's military interventions in northern Syria starting in 2016, the SIG moved its physical base into Turkish-controlled pocket zones in northern Syria, centering its operations in the city of Azaz, Aleppo Governorate. Administrative role. While it lacked vast international sovereign enforcement, the SIG acted as a civilian authority in northern opposition-held pockets. It managed local administrative councils, ran schools and hospitals, and even issued civil documents to Syrian citizens outside regime control. Military wing. It was officially affiliated with the Syrian National Army, SNA, a coalition of Turkish-backed rebel factions. 2. The Great Transition, the fall of Assad. The status of the exile governance model changed permanently when a lightning rebel offensive spearheaded by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, alongside the SNA and other factions, successfully swept through the country and toppled the 53-year Assad dynasty. Following the collapse of the old regime, the external opposition bodies and internal military commands quickly shifted from alternative exile structures into an active, on-the-ground domestic transition. 3. The modern sovereign landscape in Syria. Syria is governed under a centralized, institutionalized transitional administration working directly out of Damascus. The administrative framework features several key elements. Executive leadership and the constitution. The presidency, Ahmad al-Sharaa, formerly known by his militant moniker Abu Muhammad al-Jalani, was appointed as the transitional president to lead the nation through its state rebuilding phase. The Transitional Charter, an interim constitutional declaration, was signed into effect, establishing a robust presidential system. The transitional framework is designed to govern the country for a 5-year period, after which a permanent constitution is to be fully ratified and open national elections held. The cabinet. A 23-member transitional cabinet operates without a traditional prime minister, meaning the executive branch answers directly to the presidency. The cabinet includes a diverse makeup of ministers, including figures who served in technical government roles prior to 2011, alongside representatives from various ethnic and religious backgrounds, including Christian, Druze, Alawite, and Kurdish appointees. Administrative and security integration. Legislative Council. The old Assad-era parliament and security apparatuses were entirely disbanded and dissolved. A new People's Assembly, consisting of 210 seats, was established, with 2/3 of its members selected through regional electoral colleges and local committees, and the remaining third appointed by the president to ensure minority and female representation. The Kurdish territories, northeast. In early 2026, following a mix of localized military offensives and high-level structural negotiations, a major integration deal was struck with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF. Under this arrangement, the vast northeastern territories are being brought back under state authority, with thousands of Kurdish fighters systematically integrated into official brigades under the direct chain of command of the Central Ministry of Defense. Counter-terrorism operations. The transitional state assumes full domestic security duties, working alongside international partners, including the United States, to conduct joint security operations targeting remaining cells of the Islamic State, ISIS, in the desert regions. Summary of structural evolution. Feature. The exile period, 2013 to 2024. The transitional state, present. Primary body. Syrian Interim Government, SIG, the National Coalition. Transitional administration of the Syrian state, base of operations, Istanbul/Gaziantep, Turkey, and Azaz, northern border. Damascus, national capital. Territorial scope. Restricted to localized border pockets in the north. Expanding across the majority of Syria, including integrated NE regions. Legal framework. Alternative opposition declarations. 5-year constitutional declaration.
I hope you have listened it. Now, for us to recreate the history of Syria, that means we need to do what is their movement? They started from organization. From the organization, they move into government in exile. From government in exile, they issue declaration. Their own is redeclared because from 1949, the movement of Syria started. But that one failed. Like when we talk about Biafra in 1967 to 1970, that failed. When this issue, the history of Syria, the first government in exile that resided in Paris, in France, failed. Their territory was being just there, managing by oppressors and those who suppress them down. In common terms of what I want to take from out of the Syria is what? There is a day of 21st century that Syria people transitioned into a government in exile. It's not just government in exile. They issue the declaration. They issue a declaration of what? Syria as a country. The government that redeclared or issued the declaration of Syria as a country, that Mazin Nnamdi Okukanu said that we should look at their history and repeat it in our own movement. He said this on his broadcast January 1st, 2021. And the transition, the word transition from organization into a government in exile. Now, when you transition into government in exile, what is the work of the government in exile of Syria? Their work is to form a very formidable structure that suits in the apparatus of the international law and their guideline, that has president, prime ministers, ministers of information, COS in the present modern day of 21st century. When they transitioned, they issued a redeclared of Syria as a country. In the decade of the exile movement, you had it here, from the 2013, where they have redeclared. Without the declaration, the government is nonsense. Without issue the declaration of your lost country or declare the new one, the government in exile remain as a political party pressure group until you transition full and redeclare. So Batobe told us that the only time we have a name with government in exile is when we have redeclared and we have the document in our hand. Is it not what Simon Ebanjoku told us before he was taken away? Is it not? In this government in exile of the Biafran people, now with this little of the history of Syria, who is working for you? Who is repeating the replicant of the history of Syria? Please tell me on the comment section if you are following. If people are here, who is the people that today proving this history that Mazin Nnamdi said that this is how Biafra should become a country? Please tell me in the comment section if you are following. Who is the people that maintain what Mazin Nnamdi said? Let me remind you that again. Let me play the audio for you. Maybe if you have forgotten about it. I want to play the audio for you. So in case if you have forgotten about this audio, I will play it back. Yes, thank you. But you know, is United States of Biafra government? Is what? United States of Biafra government is the one that is repeating the history. or the people of Syria. Now, you followed when we play the history of Syria, right? Now, wait. Let us play the history of Somalia and tell us who is also repeating this two history of these two countries I am presenting to you today. It's not about what you think. It's not about how you feel. It's not about that thing you claim you know. Meanwhile, for me, you know nothing. And those who knows how we achieve it has given us the road. And we on it. The only government you have, if they ask you, among those claiming government in exile, who is your government? United States of Biafra, led by one and only Dr. Ngozi Arabeze and all the cabinet members, are the only government in exile exist under the eyes of the international law and under the eyes of the world. A government in exile without declaration document or declaration document, without it, you are making noise. You are the same method of IPOB, one family of noise makers that are disturbing the atmosphere all the time. One year, they come and do their protests and they claim they are fighting for you, for Biafra. They go in. Triple M, you are welcome you. Okay, because of you, if I play the audio back, sorry, before I play the history of Somalia, let's welcome those that never come in the comment section because of Nikumad Nonobo. Yes. We have our brother Galas Pass TV. He stand on the protocol. My brother, this is what I love. When people enter, just go straight to the question, to the how the page and how the law is being worked. Hashtag I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra. Hashtag Nigeria must go out of Biafra land. We are now a nation. We see Gineka Mwafo all the way from homeland. She said, hashtag I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra. Is standing on the protocol direct. Hashtag Nigeria must go out of Biafra land. That is our code. Yes, so Chris Biafran son, give us emoji love. Thank you, brother. Love you too. And they also said hashtag free Mazen Nnamdi Kanu from Nigeria prison. Chris Biafran son said Biafrans try and save money to get your own United States of Biafra nation USB ID card. Very important, very important. One day. And the glad also complained this by saying hashtag Freema Simon Eba from Finland prison. Thank you, Wanda. But Lomi said United States of Biafra. Thank you for that. I'm here. He was hashtag I am a citizen of the USB. Hashtag I am a citizen of the Institute of Biafra. That is all around. So that is it. And here he said, you are right. All hail US government, United States of Biafra. That is our only government we have. No other one. Our PM, Mas Simon Epa, remains the good guys. Yes, so that is truth. Hashtag Nigeria must go out of Biafran land. Thank you for that. And they also said here, greetings to you, Mas Shino, the Biafra TV, known as USB Research TV right now. Remember that. Greetings to you all, my Genu fellow Biafra citizens. Yes, we are the citizens. We are not organization. He also said here, United States of Biafra USB is the only government that repeating the Biafran that are representing the Biafran people currently. Yes, you are right. That is what we are. Guys, can you hit the like button and share the broadcast widely? If you wish to do that, no force. USB or USB, no power can change it. No power anywhere in the world can change it. No power. Now, like I said, we go to the history of Somalia. You know, this is a Somalia. Mazan Khan said that when we destroy Nigeria, Somalia is going to be better than Nigeria. That is the place he asks us to check their history, how they become a country, and have to repeat what they did. Let's listen to that. Let us do what? Listen to the history. Listen with open mind, not with evil mind.
When discussing a Somalia government in exile that achieved international recognition, international law and historical records point directly to two sequential overlapping structures: the Transitional National Government, TNG, and the Transitional Federal Government, TFG. Following the 1991 collapse of the Siad Barre regime, Somalia descended into factional civil war with no central authority. Rather than starting domestically, the internationally recognized sovereign state structures of Somalia were explicitly built, institutionalized, and operated in exile, primarily in Djibouti and Kenya, before they could safely relocate to Somali soil. 1. The Transitional National Government, TNG, 2000 to 2004. The TNG was the first framework to successfully reclaim Somalia's legal personality on the international stage after nearly a decade of total statelessness. Creation in exile. It was established during the Somalia National Peace Conference held from April 20th to May 5th, 2000, in Arta, Djibouti. Because Mogadishu was entirely carved up by rival warlords, the entire administrative structure, including the selection of a 245-seat parliament and the election of President Abdiqasim Salad Hassan, happened on foreign soil. International recognition. Despite controlling only small pockets of the capital upon its initial return, the TNG was immediately granted full de jure recognition by major international bodies. It took over Somalia's vacant seats at the United Nations, UN, the African Union, AU, and the Arab League. Challenges. The TNG's lack of domestic physical control, fierce opposition from neighboring Ethiopia, and an inability to collect internal tax revenue eventually caused it to go bankrupt, leading to the next evolution of exile governance. 2. The Transitional Federal Government, TFG, 2004 to 2002. The TFG succeeded the TNG and is the most prominent, structurally comprehensive model of a recognized Somali government, starting its operations completely from exile. Establishment in Kenya. The TFG was formed in Nairobi, Kenya, in October 2004, under the auspices of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. The Transitional Federal Parliament met in Nairobi to adopt the Transitional Federal Charter and elect Military Commander Abdullahi Yusuf Ahmed as the transitional president. Operating from abroad. For nearly a year, the entire executive cabinet and legislature operated out of hotels and conference centers in Nairobi. They drafted administrative laws, held diplomatic meetings, and managed sovereign affairs from outside Somali borders, because Mogadishu was deemed too dangerous due to the rise of warlord coalitions and the Islamic Courts Union, ICU. The phased return. 1. In 2005, the TFG physically moved from Kenya to Somalia, but could not enter the capital. It set up a temporary administrative seat in the provincial cities of Baidoa and Jowhar. 2. In December 2006, backed by a controversial military intervention by Ethiopian troops, the TFG finally entered Mogadishu and established its administrative core at the Villa Somalia Presidential Palace. 3. How international recognition was maintained. The strategic brilliance of both the TNG and TFG models relied heavily on prioritizing institutional statecraft and international legitimacy over immediate domestic dominance. Sovereign legitimacy instruments. Control of legal assets. By holding international recognition, these governments in exile maintained exclusive control over Somalia's overseas diplomatic missions, passport authorizations, and foreign central bank assets. Monopoly on foreign aid. International financial bodies and donor countries routed all humanitarian, developmental, and security aid exclusively through the transitional government's ministries, starving domestic rebel factions and warlords of official diplomatic resources. External security mandates. Because the TFG was the recognized sovereign entity under international law, it possessed the unique legal authority to invite foreign stabilization forces into the country. This provided the legal basis for the African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM, to deploy thousands of troops to physically protect the government administration as it transitioned from exile to domestic control. Summary of the exile to domestic path. Feature: Transitional National Government, TNG. Transitional Federal Government, TFG. Exile hosting nation. Djibouti, Arta Conference 2000. Kenya, Nairobi Negotiations, 2004. Key leaders: President Abdiqasim Salad Hassan, President Abdullahi Yusuf Ahmed, sovereign status, fully recognized by UN, AU, and Arab League, inherited full international recognition and UN seating, ultimate outcome, laid the structural foundation, but suffered financial collapse, successfully relocated inside Somalia, formally transitioned into the permanent federal government of Somalia in 2012.
In 2012 of yesterday. And look at, this is 21st century movement. Oh. This is not old. Why do I say so? Because what the world called 21st century started from 2001. Look at the history of finally of the movement of Somalia. From 2002 to 2012. How many years in exile in general? From 2002 to 2012, please help me. How many years they are in exile in Kenya? They issue declaration. Is when you are, see, my word is that I am not here to analyze any human being. I am here to see how other countries achieve their own. And now with the word of Masna, they have given me more morale to do more. And particularly these three countries he mentioned, that we must repeat their history, how they become a country. That we must do it in that way. And look at how they become a country. Is what I am here presenting to you, and what I am presenting has already been done and dusted. You know, see, this is 2002 started. 10 years in exile. Yes, Tripem, thank you so much. 10 years in exile of people of who? Of Somalia. Before they can come back and take over their territory. He declared Biafra since 2004, 2024. He said you are sovereignty. Nigerian military armor tanker is everywhere. It's na Biafra, you want a Biafra, na ngota nke gị. It's na ngota Biafra wo n'ihe ahụ ị na-eche na ihe ahụ ị na-ekwugheri. Ihe ndị America kwugheri oge nke ha stop America ebe a country. Ndị anwa kwugheri ya famechiri over 80,000 agba ọsọ gbafua. Ha both the America till today. Ndị anwa kwugheri na America ama mbụ a country. Ndị anwa na-ekwugheri otu all of you si na-akụ inyo today. And Obruna Somalia can make it in this 21st century from 2002 to 2012. We must make it. And we have already made it. Because they formed. We formed. We declared our own. And we stand with the mandate of our government. And you are doing IPOB one family for 14 years. It took it took Somalia 10 years. In all. But you on the process of the street, 14 years, shame on you. In as IPOB, one family. Protest, we move. We are here doing 1 million men march. And someone you that formed the IPOB in a claim now the way we can have this country is by repeating the history of people of Syria, Yemen, and Somalia. In the history of Somalia, what happened? When we discussed about the history of Somalia, government in exile that achieved international recognition under international law, and the history recorded point directly to two ways of people of Somalia. What is that? Overlapping structure, the transition national government TNG first. Like when we said IPOB. When they transitioned into government in exile, they stopped using the name TNG. They used the name Transitioning Federal Government, TFG is the name. Let me give you an example of just a small narration of it. From, let's say, this way, from Simon Epanjoko's part, from the autopilot to Bridge that redeclared United States of Biafra, and the answering right now, Biafran government in exile. Do you understand it? Do you connect the dots, or do I make any points from what I just illustrated right now? Is it clear to you? So whenever you talked about United States of Biafra government, you also talk about the bridge that was registered, because this one that was registered will always be in brackets. Obato did not register autopilot. He gave the criminal organ money to register bridge. True or false? That is what he gave him money to register. So the world always remember that particular first registration, how you started your movement. Now I'm going to give you another example. When America started, they registered United 13 Colony. America registered what? United 13 Colony that issued the Declaration of United States of America in August 1776. After having declared that our name of our country is United States of America, they leave 13 colony and used United States of America to pursue for recognition. On the name of the United States of America, Morocco was the first country that gives the recognition after a year and 6 months with that recognition. Before Morocco now is the first country that gives the recognition. After 3 years of the recognition from Morocco, France seconded the recognition. France, after 3 years of America with only Morocco recognizing them as United States of America as a full nation, France was number 2 that recognizes America as a country. Now give them weapon, total weapon, to chase away British or Britain in their country. That is the America you are seeing today. That people are calling inside the bush. Donald Trump, J. Netanyahu inside the bush. When America is calling for recognition, they are there calling from inside the bush. Maybe we should replicate what the people of Syria and the Somalia did to their military warlords. Those that refuse that they should accept that they have already declared Syria as a country, and now they have a government. They tag them I6C. They ask the world to come and level them. They run to UN, to the United Nations, and tell them, look at what we are passing through. They refuse us to come back home. They are here disturbing us. They are this and that. The world will come and all of them tears away. Is it what you wish for yourself? I wish you what you wish for yourself inside that bush where you are. Law must repeat. History must repeat. Ndebe anyị so ụzọ amara akpọọla egbe anya n'ọdụ. Simon Ekpanjeko lere egbe anya n'ọdụ. Wee mụta ka esi akpụ na ogele kwesịrị ogele na-agba mkpi abụọ dịka ọdụ ya gbara mkpi na-abụ. O wee maa na ihe a ga-eme bụkwanụ ihe a Maazị Nnamdi Kanu kwuru, that we have to look at this history of this country, move this way. The first movement of them is what? Government-in-Exile. The first was organization. Second was what? Government-in-Exile. We move as organization when we are in the bridge. Now we declare we become a government-in-exile of a country that's given recognition. I owe you no apology. And you owe USB apology. You owe Simon Ekpanjeko. First, Maazị Nnamdi Kanu. Then Simon Ekpanjeko. Because you are so stupid and dumb. Following the 1991 collapse of the Said Bree regime, Somalia divided into functional civil war with no central authority. Rather than starting domestical problem, the international recognition sovereign state structures of Somalia were brutal. Institutionalizing and operating in exile, they now form a structure of a government, start operating in exile, primarily Djibouti and Kenya, before they could safely relocate to their Somalia soil territory. They operate where? This government in exile was the one who declared the lost territory of Somalia. They give us from the present what happened. Now, number one, the Transition National Government, TNG, from 2000 to 2004. The TNG was the first framework to successfully reclaim Somalia legal personality on the international stage after nearly a decade of a total silence of the territory of Somalia by a government in exile and issue the redeclared of what? Somalia, Umokoko, in IPOB, one family. Creating government in exile. It was established during the Somalia National Peace Conference held from April 20 to May 5, 2000 in Accra, Djibouti. They hold conference. Obatobi hold first conference in Finland. This man called Obatobi was very intelligent and he read all the histories of every country. And that is why he can pilot their faith. And he told us under 5 years, he's going to give us Biafra. He gave us Biafra. Chidu Bebe Manel, you are here today. Wow, we're happy to see you. Welcome back. You run away from us, maybe because of time. But we remain here. We did not move. And you had it here that the Somalia was operating in exile first. Now what happened? Because of the Mongabushi was extremely covered up by the rival warlords. The men on ground, they claim no how Biafra land. The entire administrative structure, including the selection of the 245 seats permanent parliament and the election of the president of Abdurrahim Sanhasa, held on foreign soil. Their first ever election held where? On a foreign soil in Kenya and Djibouti. or whatever they may call it. Their first president. Do you hear it? That their first president was in exile. Oh. We are only form government in exile, issue declaration, and have only deputy prime minister and prime minister. They not complain. I hold you no apology because you 14 years of protests. Oh, I heard that somebody in Australia said that Mama Simon was the one causing the life of our people. What of Mbo massacre? Who caused it? What of Obibo massacre? Who caused it? What of YEMEN massacre? Who caused it? I'm asking you. Simon even saved our people because he stopped protests in Po one day. Over 50 Biafrans was massacred in Po. What of your last protest in Omai, in Abia State? Do you know our people that the DOS call for protests? Is this Simon call for protests? The present one I'm talking about, 2026, or no for protests? Or no one able? Our protest in Oma's Lender about what can na-ekwu nke ahụ ndị IPOB or Bromo Biafra niile with the new siono. You know IPOB because no able no cage way with the band. I would have be one of them who is no longer alive, but I'm alive today to testify what happened in Po. Even after the man and the cannon, in all places we go, I get with fire, I get with shooting. I got Quigbe, Madada. Up on our phone, the all protests. Syria did protest for 2 years. Namibia did it for 3 years and 10 months, and I placed there people that this way we are sending people to go out and protest was the way it was being killed. And anybody who was arrested today, even under University of Biafra, attack IPOB, the terrorist organization, as IPOB. I was Oteka in here, local government. Under Benjamin Madugu. No, the book. I'm not a the IPOB, Nile. I form true structure in my territory. 2 polling units in IPOB. Amadio Hamawono, Kemawono, Mabona, na Fanamko, or Brani, in the IPOB. We will ask it on in all of you's hand in due time. In your all your leaders that are asking people to go to protest. I am not apologizing to any of you. Oh, you not apology because my brother was down because of IPOB name on that protest. You couldn't support one no the IPOB. IPOB structure Somalia never did the protest for 1 day because they lost their country. Their country was collapsed. Syria did only for 2 years. Kenya did not even do for 1 day when they lost their country. They just threw government in exile in London. In a former political pressure group, maybe in politics, able to Biafra business, in the IPOB. The movement continued. After have issued a redeclared in a foreign land, in Kenya, out of their territory. Their first president was elected in abroad, in exile, in foreign land. And what happened? They moved for international recognition, despite not controlling even a small land of Somalia. The TMG was neatly granted a full recognition by major international body because they moved immediately. They collapsed. The economy was collapsed, and the former government in exile. And they redeclare immediately without no protests. There's a difference between a lost and the new. The new need more awareness. The new need protest, but the old does not need. Or if Ojukwu could have transition threats into Government-in-Exile, we will not be here today. Because from that 1967, those in the 1960s, 1970 to 1990, all of them has become a full nation in exile. Today, back to their countries. All of that has become a country. All of them has become a full country. If you Ojukwu, and imagine can look at all of you, the criminals in DOS, in the IPOB, in the Ebu. The organization called IPOB is supposed to be tagged Ebu Obra because unu buru Ebu. Ono can ebu because he can't go to member ono. He can't go to member ono. The IPOB. He can't go to member the IPOB. The Ebu Obra. Ono ji anu onu chike doziem Chinasa Nworu. Unu ekwula oge nke ndị otu agba aka ha mebe ihe ahụ na Maazị Nnamdi Kanu mana ọnụ bere late. Unu gara kụọ aka na tipa bụ akpa aja. Unu afọ ka o si adị na USB all the way. The world knows we exist. And because of USB, that is why Israel is busy now talking about Biafra. That is why Brazil is talking about Biafra, not by nobody protest has made the world talk about them. The other will say they will stand here and start treating them very wrong, treat them right, so they can stop their protests. When they declared people of Somalia, what happened? Yes, what they do is what they accuse people. Thank you for that word. Thank you. We also have our link there because we are going to close very soon because we have another program by 8 o'clock Biafran time. So please, if you want to join us, you can. He took over Somalia veteran states as the United Nations, UN, the African Union, and the other Arab League given recognition. Challenges the TNG that redeclared Somalia faces some problems, some challenges, like what we are facing today after we have redeclared Biafra as a country. Yes. They start, when they declare it, they move again from Kenya, have their branch in Ethiopia. They have their another branch where in Ethiopia. That is why there was in exile for 10 years. From Kenya, from Djibouti to Kenya, from Kenya to Ethiopia. This is the movement of Somalia. That is why Maazị Nnamdi Kanu registered the IPOB in abroad, in exile. In IPOB did not people. It was registered as an organization in exile. And today you want to claim it. Like we're going to claim bridge, Ndiochi, criminals everywhere. Mad people. Today, some branches are trying to remember that Maazị Kanu is not the owner. He registered Okwao. Your signature is not there. The world is claiming is stolen bridge today, but it's late because the bridge has done his work. The work of bridge, under bridge of Biafra, is to redeclare the nation called United States of Biafra. That is all, nothing more than that. There is nothing more than that. There is nothing more than that. In a okay onerihi onye mwanya. About Obi na prison, na claim no again what bridge. It jeopardize their bridge. Where the owner jeopardize because he knows about Obi knows I don't need this organization. I want to fight for a country. Eh? In a through IPOB, or and the real IPOB people anyway today, the United States of Biafra is the real IPOB. One on Obuya. They have their challenges. Some look at it to lack of domestic fiscal control. They did not control enough their territory. Until 10 years before Somalia can come back and control their territory. Because they have actually recognition from the United Nations, from the AU in Africa, and where Arab leagues have recognized them. After 10 years, they return back home and take over their territory. Do you know why today you are doing fundraising? It's for USB, your country, not to go financial corrupt. For us to have money, that is why you must continue to the fundraising. Every support. About Kwamo Gragi, Kiev Sobe, he just said he had history of Somalia. About Kwamo Ukuru. And we are not the one that you know Aprun. When Kwamboji Ruri, Biafra TV or USB research na Kaijilita history. Because when that's now when you had the history in the country, no, said me. Obu ne when he had GM, Guinea Miji, where Macona is by Government-in-Exile now. When you enter Government-in-Exile, you must check the history of how those that were in exile, what they did and how they become a country. Me, I believe in history so much. Since I was born, I believe in history. That whatever I'm doing, that I have to check how others have done their own in the past. That is the only way I will get my own. That is my belief. Today, if you went to school, are you the first who went to that school? No, you are repeating the history of those who was in the school before you. That is what you just did, nothing more than that. Let me play it on a loudspeaker so you can hear it. No, when I USB, no, when I Simon claiming that's why I told you, go and check the broadcast of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, January 1st, 2021, before he was being kidnapped.
The method in our madness. We are very, very strategic in terms of our approach, not just to the disintegration of the damnable zoological republic, but its disembowelment. I did promise you many years ago that by the time we are done with Nigeria, the name Nigeria will no longer exist. That is where we are heading to. And for us to be able to accomplish that, we need to recreate the scenario of Yemen, the scenario of Syria, the scenario of Somalia, in the northern part of the damnable zoological republic. And there is only one way we are going to achieve that.
There's only one way we are going to achieve that, through where? How do they achieve their own? Through what? Government-in-Exile. Through what? Government-in-Exile. And you're minus Yemen. The history of Yemen, he mentioned here, when I play the history of Yemen by tomorrow evening, the history of Yemen is all about North. How North will break into two. That is the history of Yemen. But for the history, for Biafra to become a full nation, is all about the Syria, Sierra Leone, and the Somalia. This is what he asked you and I to do. Let's go back to the history back. I hope you have heard from where I'm making the broadcast from, research. I want to, what is this? And that is about to be a listen to that history. If you check from 2001 of Simon Ebanjoko and from 2012, minus it from 2012 to 2021, how many years we have been following? We have been doing protests on the street. We have been doing protests on the street. Check how many years. From let's just take from 2012. That man can registered IPOB organization to 2021. Please check, help me, Triple M, if you are there. How many years? I'm asking you, how many years? Then from Abatobi 2021 to 2026, how many years? The man, you are there for decades, flowing mass and Nandekan doing your protests. And he made a broadcast openly on January 1st, 2021, that we need to recreate the scenario of Yemen, Syria, Somalia. About to be 5 years. Now, from 2012 to 2026, minus 5 years time on it, and see how many years you have been on the street. And all these in the street, Biafrans have being killed every day. In the street of Nigeria, in the street of Biafra land, where Nigeria, when we are doing protests, they come, they hide us, they arrested us. I am not talking about was wicked regime, because there is those who remain in prison today under Masab. I know. Yeah? And one Okoko opened up and said that Biafrans are being, because of Simon, that someone is killing Biafran people. I ask you, those who died in war, or when Mazakan was first arrested under the Nigerian government, under which name IPOB organization? All the protests in Biafra land is under IPOB. And all of them will be massacred. We never counted those numbers. In any protest, in any good state, on the protest, people was adopted, people was being buyed. Is it not true? Which name is that? IPOB. IPOB has killed our people. The name, until you leave, until you denounce your organization called IPO, that's when you will be a free man. You must denounce this organization called IPO. Is this the citizen called organization called IPOB? If you never denounce it, the blood of the Biafrans are being pied in your head. Take it or you leave it. I owe you no apology. Let's continue. On the issue of words, Somalia. The Transition Federal Government, TFG, 2004 to 2002, the TFG succeeded the TNG. The TFG succeeded the TNG and is the most prominent, structured, comprehensively modern of the recognized Somalia governments started in operating completely from exile. When the TNG is in exile, when they were in exile and in their movement, what happened? They remain as an organization. The world overlooked them, like the way the world overlook IPOB. And the people have been arrested, been buyed, been kidnapped, been detained every day with the name IPOB. Have you anybody in your government that they will arrest you because of you accepted that you believe in the United States of Biafra? They all been tagged under IPOB name. Is it not true? They all been tagged under the name IPOB. That is the problem. Now, when this government in exile, once they form government in exile, they change their name into TFG instead of TNG. Now, establishment in Kenya, the TFG was founded in Nairobi, Kenya, in October 2004, under the auspices of the Interim Governmental Authority on Development of GAD. The Transition Federal Parliament met in Nairobi to adopt the Transitional Federal Charter and elected military commanders Abdullahi Yusuf Ahmed as the transitional president. Obatobi bring us to Finland in the first time, where he introduced to us, or where we sign charter. Is the charter again is parading today, the document he has, is the charter of Simon introduced to us, the different people sign, and the signature of Ogen is not inside the charter. It's only our DPM that signature is there. A criminal, like in the IPOB. History is repeating all over. What history is repeating in your head? Tell me in the comment section. Are you repeating the history that's what people of Namibia that believe in the declaration of Namibia? Do you believe that US has been redeclared? If you are repeating on this, you're on this side of this history, you are repeating a good history. You are repeating a history that we are going to become a country. Mazan Kanu said. That is why you see on my headline, all Biafrans. Mazan Kanu said we should check the history of Somalia, Syria, for Biafra to become a nation. Is it not what USB is repeating today for Biafra to become a nation? I'm asking you, intellectuals, criminals, mad people everywhere in as IPOB. Let's continue. Operating from abroad, they elected their president. And the president of Somalia is operating from abroad. Where from abroad? Nearly a year, 1 year, the entire executive cabinet and the legislatures operate out of the hostel, they operate out of the hotel and the conference creating in Nairobi. They are in a hotel room in Nairobi, in Kenya. That is where they are operating. That is where the president and the cabinet members are operating for. In a hotel room in Kenya, in Nairobi. That is where the government of Somalia is operating from. As they have elected for 1 year, they remain there. Let's continue. They defeated administrative law, they adopted administrative law, held diplomatic meetings. Listen, they have started looking for recognition. And they managed their sovereign affairs from outside Somalia. They manage the affairs of the people of the cities of Somalia from outside the border of where Somalia, because of what was determined too dangerous, because the Somalia territory was too dangerous for them to enter. Due to the rising of the warlord coalition and the Islamic court in UN, the Islamic court, Union ICU. They call them what? That these people that occupy the territory and the land become very dangerous, their territory. They did not enter. Listen. In the pursuit of return, in 2005, the TFG physically moved from Kenya to Ethiopia, but could not enter their capital, set up on a temporary administrative, sitting in the previous city of the border of the Ethiopia. In December 2006, backed by a controversial military intervention by Ethiopia. Ethiopia, now the people of the territory, Ethiopia helped them to go and chase all the warlords and the Islamic Union court that was giving people power for Islam to take over the Somalia in that first place. Remember, Somalia is a Muslim country, really. Listen to this. Number 3, how do they achieve recognition? How international recognition was mandated. The strategy, the brilliance of both the TNG and the TFG modernized heavily on the patronizing institutional statecraft and international legitimacy over immediate domestic dominance. Sovereign legitimacy, instruments, control of the legal assets, controlled by the legal assets. By holding international recognition, this government in exile mandated executive control over Somalia overseas diplomatic missions. They open war to diplomatic mission, like what USB is doing today. Honestly, do you see how USB is repeating the history of all the countries that was in exile? Do you see how they open what? Mission head today, mission offices. That is what USB is doing now. You see how USB is repeating what Mazen can say, we need to repeat what the people of Somalia did. Today, they omit the word mission head that you are hearing from USB. Do you hear it from the history of people of Somalia? I hope you're hearing from their own history today. And what happened? When they were in foreign land, they start issue passport and ID card and the foreign central bank assets in abroad, in another man's country, in Ethiopia, in a bridge. What happened? Monopoly foreign aid. International finance bordered and the countries ruled on human rights. They start donation. They start collecting money from their people based on the human rights movement. What are we doing today? Humanitarian fundraising. Are you connecting the dots? People of Somalia did what? They opened asset foreign bank in Ethiopia and start doing what? They call it what? Humanitarian fundraising. That USB is doing today. Hey, USB on 5 boza. Do you see how USB is repeating the history? And who said we should repeat the history? Look at who said what USB is doing today is what Mazen Nnamdi Okwukan asked us to do. Listen.
The method in our madness. We are very, very strategic in terms of our approach, not just to the disintegration of the damnable zoological republic, but its disembowelment. I did promise you many years ago that by the time we are done with Nigeria, the name Nigeria will no longer exist. That is where we are heading to. And for us to be able to accomplish that, we need to recreate the scenario of Yemen, the scenario of Syria, the scenario of Somalia, in the northern part of the damnable zoological republic.
We are repeating. That is what USB is doing today. You have to hear it. We must replicate the history of all these countries and how they become a country. I never knew that Somalia even have mission offices registered in abroad, Ethiopia, Kenya. and many other places when there was in exile. I never knew until I found out this research. And what we are doing here, what we did yesterday, humanitarian fundraising is what's the name of how Somalia use their own. And how they start collecting money from their people. Under the name humanitarian fundraising, open foreign account in Ethiopia. Are you listening to that? USB, Bosa, 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 Bosa for USB and their cabinet members. Simon Ekpa, Mazda Nekano, down to Dr. Nabeze and other cabinet members. I have Nukumad in the building. I have Prince Godwill Ezen, aka Odogwe Nugu. Welcome to the program. Please have the mic. Odogwu, if you're there, have the mic.
No, I came to listen. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Do you see what USD is doing today? That in the year, because I must like to give you, in the year 2006, after Somalia has formed Government-in-Exile in 2002/2004, in their movement, for them to have money, after they have done that in 2006, they open foreign accounts in Ethiopia. And what they write on it is what? That this account is for humanitarian fundraising for humanitarian movement. That is why you will know that USB is on the right track. That is how you will know that the only government you have is USB redeclared. That is why you must know that the only government in exile is what? USB redeclared. No other government in exile you have. Any other thing, they have made a program here where they said that after a government in exile issued a declaration of a lost country, if any group emerge, that what happened is this: they are all small organization. Nara. Go and ask question. You see this app? When I made it, I wanted him to be on social media. I told this YouTube. Any day I had this app. I mentioned YouTube because I come out here. I'm here. I'm here. Also, the amount of suburb loss again. If you want to become a suburb, I have one ideology in my life. A fool at 20 will be a fool at 40. A fool at 40 will be a fool at 60. A fool at 60 will be a fool at 80. That is why you see in total for in Ireland, the Hebrew placards now march on the street. Now in 1 million men march after 14 years, heading to 15 years. Why Syria only 2 years? Now, this particular Somalia refused to even protest for 1 day. They straightly formed government in exile. Straightly. After they have lost their territory, after the country has collapsed. Let's continue. After they have formed government in exile and established a declaration, they introduce a bank in Ethiopia in the name to get money to succeed their people, to money for their people. The name of their fund, their bank, or their movement becomes humanitarian fundraising. Hey. Dr. Nuzara, thank you so much, because I know this one you find out by yourself, to you and your cabinet members. Thank you for putting us on the right track once again after I've lost Biafran war. What happened? As the people of Somalia continue to transition seek for recognition, rebel factions manufactured rebel. Do you see that what's happening to us today is not happening only for us? That in the history of Somalia, that rebels, after they have redeclared it, that rebels comes up, different organizations emerge, trying to stop a diplomatic movement. The international global community ignore all the rebels group and grants automatic recognition to the government in exile that issue a declaration of Namibia. Sorry, of people of Somalia. You know, I have gone to the history of Namibia is just in full of my head because their history is our history. The rebels from the warlord military that refused to accept the government in exile on a civil movement that the government of Namibia called the government of Ethiopia to help them and the United Nations to chase away the warlord inside the bush. Gentle Yahoo Nabutos or anybody in the Biafra land after we have redeclared refused to submit that you emanatory under USB, a warlord, a rebel. Look at the history of where our leader, the honorable, the prophet of our time, as I can say, this is the history we must adopt for us how Biafra is a country. Somalia called those warlords inside the bush that refused to accept the declaration of Somalia and the recognition. They called them what? Rebel and the warlord. They called the help from their country that they're sitting on it. They called help from Kenya and Ethiopia and the United Nations to chase away this warlord that inside the bush that are threatening their lives. And it happens. I wish you what you wish yourself inside the bush. Because of the TFG was the recognized sovereignty entity on international law. It possessed the legal authority to invite foreign countries to force to help them to settle their country and chase away all the rebel world law. When you are hearing this, what is that that's coming into your mind? That the US declared is the only one you have, no other one. Take it or you leave it. What happens? Because of the government in exile of the Somalia is not controlling the physical territory, they seek help from United Nations, Ethiopia, and Kenya for them to take over their territory as they have transitioned back into their territory. With the help of Ethiopia, Kenya, United Nations, Somalia take over their territory from the hands of the warlords. Stay inside the summary of the exile of people of Namibia, of Somalia. Transitional future or function. Transitional national government TNG, the authentic one that issued the redeclared of Somalia as a country. Transitional federal government. TNG was the name of the organization they used. They now transition into what? TFG, that issued the declaration of Somalia as a country. Now, listen how the word address them. Exile hostage nation. Where do they have their border? Where do they stay? Djibouti at a conference 2000. Kenya, Nairobi, negotiation 2004. They started their movement. Kenya, key leader, president, elected in abroad. Stay in abroad for 10 years until they come back and take over their territory. Sovereign status, fully recognized by the UN, EU, and the Arab League before they come back and take over their territory. 10 years in exile before they come back. As I have already declared it. Now, listen. Successfully relocate inside Somalia territory, formally transition into the permanent federal government of Somalia in 2012. From 2000 to 2012. they take over their territory with the help of, they said they waited for full recognition from the UN, from the AU, and the Arab League and some world powers before they now came back and take over their territory. Hey, we give you 90 days. If you say you have declared Biafra, you have declared sovereignty. If you don't come back with Biafrans rejoice, we are going home under USB. There is our country. No other government you have in exile. All these are criminals, hijackers, rebels here and there. You are not the first to have rebels. Namibia, Algeria, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya in their own time, and present one Somalia, present one Syria, present one Yemen, present one Sierra Leone. They all have rebels. They never come together. Don't preach me. You are useless together. Look at the history of country that Mazan can ask us to do what? Why do I focus on this today? Because for past 2 days, we are handling the history of Syria. So I am going to play it back again in full. If I play it full, if you have contribution, you can use the link and enter to put your own contribution and tell us how you feel about US being declared and the only government you have. Tell me the government you have whenever you enter here. Announce the government. That is why I issue on my page hashtag I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. Bishop Wanaga, you are welcome. Thank you so much. Listen to this. I will start from Syria. I will play it. So listen. For over a decade. Sorry. Let me go to big speaker so you can hear it very well. 1 minute. But before that, listen to this. Have this in your mind and pay attention to what I'm going to play now.
The method in our madness. We are very, very strategic in terms of our approach, not just to the disintegration of the damnable zoological republic, but its disembowelment. I did promise you many years ago that by the time we are done with Nigeria, the name Nigeria will no longer exist. That is where we are heading to. And for us to be able to accomplish that, we need to recreate the scenario of Yemen, the scenario of Syria, the scenario of Somalia in the northern part of the damnable zoological republic. And there is only one way we are going to achieve that.
I hope you had it. The only one way. Now, how do they achieve their own? Listen. I will play it in a big speaker. Give me 1 minute to connect. One minute. Let's connect. One minute, please. Because we want to play it where you can hear it clearly.
Government-in-Exile primarily referred to the Syrian interim government, SIG. However, following the historic collapse and fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime, the political landscape within Syria fundamentally shifted. The entities that once operated in exile or in restricted border zones moved directly into the capital to form a transitional state structure. 1. The pre-2024 structure, the Syrian Interim Government, SIG. From 2013 until late 2024, the primary internationally recognized opposition body acting as a government in exile was the Syrian Interim Government, SIG. Foundation, formed on March 18, 2013 by the Syrian National Coalition, SNC, an umbrella opposition alliance backed by various Western and regional powers. Headquarters, originally forced to operate entirely in exile from Istanbul and Gaziantep, Turkey. After Turkey's military interventions in northern Syria starting in 2016, the SIG moved its physical base into Turkish-controlled pocket zones in northern Syria, centering its operations in the city of Azaz, Aleppo Governorate. Administrative role. While it lacked vast international sovereign enforcement, the SIG acted as a civilian authority in northern opposition-held pockets. It managed local administrative councils, ran schools and hospitals, and even issued civil documents to Syrian citizens outside regime control. Military wing. It was officially affiliated with the Syrian National Army, SNA, a coalition of Turkish-backed rebel factions. 2. the Great Transition, the fall of Assad. The status of the exile governance model changed permanently when a lightning rebel offensive spearheaded by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, alongside the SNA and other factions, successfully swept through the country and toppled the 53-year Assad dynasty. Following the collapse of the old regime, the external opposition bodies and internal military commands quickly shifted from alternative exile structures into an active, on-the-ground domestic transition. 3. The modern sovereign landscape in Syria. Syria is governed under a centralized, institutionalized transitional administration, working directly out of Damascus. The administrative framework features several key elements: executive leadership and the constitution. The presidency, Ahmad al-Sharaa, formerly known by his militant moniker Abu Muhammad al-Jalani, was appointed as the transitional president to lead the nation through its state rebuilding phase. The Transitional Charter, an interim constitutional declaration, was signed into effect, establishing a robust presidential system. The transitional framework is designed to govern the country for a 5-year period, after which a permanent constitution is to be fully ratified and open national elections held. The cabinet, a 23-member transitional cabinet, operates without a traditional prime minister, meaning the executive branch answers directly to the presidency. The cabinet includes a diverse makeup of ministers, including figures who served in technical government roles prior to 2011, alongside representatives from various ethnic and religious backgrounds, including Christian, Druze, Alawite, and Kurdish appointees. Administrative and security integration. Legislative Council. The old Assad-era parliament and security apparatuses were entirely disbanded and dissolved. A new People's Assembly, consisting of 210 seats, was established, with 2/3 of its members selected through regional electoral colleges and local committees, and the remaining third appointed by the president to ensure minority and female representation. The Kurdish territories, northeast. In early 2026, following a mix of localized military offensives and high-level structural negotiations, a major integration deal was struck with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF. Under this arrangement, the vast northeastern territories are being brought back under state authority, with thousands of Kurdish fighters systematically integrated into official brigades under the direct chain of command of the Central Ministry of Defense. Counter-terrorism operations. The transitional state assumes full domestic security duties, working alongside international partners, including the United States, to conduct joint security operations targeting remaining cells of the Islamic State, ISIS, in the desert regions. Summary of structural evolution. Feature: the exile period, 2013 to 2024. The transitional state, present. Primary body: Syrian Interim Government, SIG, Syrian National Coalition. Transitional administration of the Syrian state. Base of operations: Istanbul/Gaziantep, Turkey, and Azaz, northern border. Damascus, national capital. Territorial scope: restricted to localized border pockets in the north. Expanding across the majority of Syria, including integrated NE regions. Legal framework: alternative opposition declarations. 5-year constitutional declaration.
I hope you listen to that. That is for Syria. Let's play for the final of Somalia.
When discussing a Somalia government in exile that achieved international recognition, international law and historical records point directly to two sequential overlapping structures: the Transitional National Government, TNG, and the Transitional Federal Government, TFG. Following the 1991 collapse of the Siad Barre regime, Somalia descended into factional civil war with no central authority. Rather than starting domestically, the internationally recognized sovereign state structures of Somalia were explicitly built, institutionalized, and operated in exile, primarily in Djibouti and Kenya, before they could safely relocate to Somali soil. 1. The Transitional National Government, TNG, 2000 to 2004. The TNG was the first framework to successfully reclaim Somalia's legal personality on the international stage, after nearly a decade of total statelessness. Creation in exile. It was established during the Somalia National Peace Conference held from April 20 to May 5, 2000, in Arta, Djibouti. Because Mogadishu was entirely carved up by rival warlords, the entire administrative structure, including the selection of a 245-seat parliament and the election of President Abdiqasim Salad Hassan, happened on foreign soil. International recognition. Despite controlling only small pockets of the capital upon its initial return, the TNG was immediately granted full de jure recognition by major international bodies. It took over Somalia's vacant seats at the United Nations, UN, the African Union, AU, and the Arab League. Challenges. the TNG's lack of domestic physical control, fierce opposition from neighboring Ethiopia, and an inability to collect internal tax revenue eventually caused it to go bankrupt, leading to the next evolution of exile governance. 2. The Transitional Federal Government, TFG, 2004 to 2002. The TFG succeeded the TNG and is the most prominent, structurally comprehensive model of a recognized Somali government, starting its operations completely from exile. Establishment in Kenya. The TFG was formed in Nairobi, Kenya, in October 2004, under the auspices of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. The Transitional Federal Parliament met in Nairobi to adopt the Transitional Federal Charter and elect Military Commander Abdullahi Yusuf Ahmed as the transitional president. Operating from abroad. For nearly a year, the entire executive cabinet and legislature operated out of hotels and conference centers in Nairobi. They drafted administrative laws, held diplomatic meetings, and managed sovereign affairs from outside Somali borders, because Mogadishu was deemed too dangerous due to the rise of warlord coalitions and the Islamic Courts Union (ICU). The phased return. 1. In 2005, the TFG physically moved from Kenya to Somalia, but could not enter the capital. It set up a temporary administrative seat in the provincial cities of Baidoa and Jowhar. 2. In December 2006, backed by a controversial military intervention by Ethiopian troops, the TFG finally entered Mogadishu and established its administrative core at the Villa Somalia Presidential Palace. 3. How international recognition was maintained. The strategic brilliance of both the TNG and TFG models relied heavily on prioritizing institutional statecraft and international legitimacy over immediate domestic dominance. Sovereign legitimacy instruments. Control of legal assets. By holding international recognition, these governments in exile maintained exclusive control over Somalia's overseas diplomatic missions, passport authorizations, and foreign central bank assets.
Are you hearing it?
Monopoly on foreign aid. International financial bodies and donor countries routed all humanitarian, developmental, and security aid exclusively through the transitional government's ministries, starving domestic rebel factions and warlords of official diplomatic resources. External security mandates. Because the TFG was the recognized sovereign entity under international law, it possessed the unique legal authority to invite foreign stabilization forces into the country. This provided the legal basis for the African Union Mission in Somalia, AMISOM, to deploy thousands of troops to physically protect the government administration as it transitioned from exile to domestic control. Summary of the exile to domestic path. Feature. Transitional National Government, TNG. Transitional Federal Government, TFG. Exile Hosting Nation. Djibouti, ARTA Conference 2000. Kenya, Nairobi Negotiations, 2004. Key leaders. President Abdikasim Salat Hassan. President Abdullahi Yusuf Ahmed. Sovereign status. Fully recognized by UN, AU, and Arab League. Inherited full international recognition and UN seating. Ultimate outcome. Laid the structural foundation, but suffered financial collapse. Successfully relocated inside Somalia. Formally transitioned into the permanent federal government of Somalia in 2012.
I hope you had it all. That is people that Malachi said that we should repeat their history for Biafra to become a country. Hope you had it clearly. And that is where we are at this point. You heard about warlord. You heard about rebels. You heard about betrayers and all what we're passing through today. We are not the first. And the day we be here, Biafra become a full nation. As we are seeking for what people of Somalia did in their own time. It's 10 years in exile. 10 years maximum in exile before they achieve recognition fully and come back and take over their territory. They open bank account in abroad. You had it here that they are doing what? Humanitarian fundraising. That is not what we are doing today. Like I said, I have another program very soon. So, I don't know. When we have anything to say, you're very close to us. You can say something before we close the program because I will come back again today. I will come back. Time permits me to discuss about Syria, Sierra Leone, and Yemen. If time permits me today.
Thank you, our professor. The type we have not had for so many years. And I thank God for this United States of Biafra, which have come to unite us together. when we are in IPOB, let people not misunderstand you, like people that will start to feel emotional or sentimental. Our Ray Biafra TV is not saying that IPOB is very useless or stupid, but he's saying that IPOB organization, IPOB one family, does not exist anymore in the United States of Biafra, because all IPOB are United Biafrans. Do we get the point now?
Yes, I said
So
it
don't feel
openly.
sentimental that our professor said, all of you IPOB, you are used, you are
No, I
useless.
mean the
No. Organization, exactly. That's what I want to point out, because our people, we are taking everything as as a joke. He is
Yes.
pointing out, because if not because of United States of Biafra, I was IPOB member, and Chino
Fully.
was IPOB member. But do I know him? Coordinator. Myself, I am a coordinator too. But do I know him? Because we are still doing one family. I don't know him. But when we are united in the government, I knew him. And now see the potential that our brother have. In IPOB, what did he have? What did he do? Command and control. Look at the handsome man and a full-grown man. You are doing command and control. That's what he's saying. How can you be controlling a man like this? With this intelligent, nobody's potential is being exhibited in IPOB. The only thing we care about: donate, pay house this, pay
Protest.
this,
We
pay
move.
protest, pay defense force, pay this. IPOB one family. This one have ended. That's what I just want to clear out. And again, I want to, before I say something, I want to follow our DPM. To thank all the independent medias on what they are doing, decimating the zoo and proclaiming the truth. Before we miss this kind of intelligence, to show that our DPM is a woman that cares for her people, for the children that he gave birth in my presence on the 29th of November 2024 in Lahti, Finland. Undisputed. She recognized the efforts of the independent media, helping the government, not waiting for the government to help them, helping the government, not how to agitate, not how to protest, but how to recognize Biafra. And Biafrans are willing to use this opportunity to tell us the meaning and the importance of recognition or declaration. Ghana was given a name. Is it Ivory Coast or Coast what? They said, no, this is not my name. They declared their name.
Gold Coast. Gold Coast.
Gold Coast. Yeah. Zimbabwe was given Rhoda something. But they said, no, this is our name, Zimbabwe. But look at Nigeria, we want to go out. To show that the people, they know the importance of declaration. They say, what name are we going to call these people? What name? Then Nigeria was not existing. No, they said Niger area, and the English converted it to Nigeria. That's what Nigeria is. But who recognized that name? Who? Which country recognized that name? Biafrans. That is why I said, even God cannot make Nigeria to work. I don't pray for that, because God have mapped out Nigeria, that name, to be destroyed. So God cannot make it to work anymore. If that God will come, let me challenge him. But God have all the power. So don't bring me and God into into a quarrel. God have all the power, but the power to make Nigeria work, he cannot do it. So the only thing that God will do is recognition of Biafra and our leader, Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa, Dr. Ngozi Rebeze have said that Nigeria cannot work. These are prophets sent to us, and they have spoken. That's the mouth of the gods. They are sent to us. They are unity. Watch our name, USB. Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa, Ngozi Rebeze, USB. Madonna, 3 persons, 3 in 1, 3 Trinity. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Mother, the Holy Spirit. Yes. So we are complete. So I follow Dr. Ngozi Rebeze, and I thank you, Ma, for recognizing your children, the effort of independent media, even the ones that she mentioned yesterday. Me or Dogwenuga, I don't even know, which means she is watching over her people.
Yes.
So, Biafrans, we are talking about recognizing whom you are, recognizing where you come from, recognizing what you mean that you are a United States of Biafra. This is the news. And doing that, you are protecting your land. As DPM said yesterday, Dr. Ngozi Rebeze, when you recognize Biafra, then you are protecting our land. If you wait for USB to come and protect you, they will take our ancestral land, because the agenda or what is in the system and policy is to take over our land. That's all. That's all. That's all. I don't want to sound so much. Our brother, I just came to listen to you, and I want to recommend all Biafrans. Have you shared this program? Have you shared it? Before I talk, I liked it and I share it. Are you stingy? Are you greedy? Share the broadcast to everywhere so that they will come and see that what we are doing now is what is obtainable in the whole world, not what is obtainable in the internet or in yourself, not how you want it. Biafran government, that is USB, are repeating, are doing, okay, forget about repeating. They are doing what the international community want, how to get the nation recognized. This is 21st century. Thank you, our professor. I can see that my triple G without no competition
in the building. Yes,
is in the building. Triple G, I agreed. I now surrender. You can take over.
Where perform triple G because the logo.
You cannot take over. Let me keep
Thank you so much, my brother. Our living legend.
Yes.
My brother. My brother Chino, thank you so much for all what you have been doing for us. It's not easy. No, these things are the thing we expect that our people, those in media, kwesịrị ịdị na-eme that time. Ma n'enu ka esi wee kee nke ọkwa. Ịma sị ọ bụghị nkwụ ka ede abụghị ọkụkọ ya. Mgbe eruru ihe eji ihe eme amara ndị bụ ndị oge ahụ eruole ahụ ụkwa hapụ afụ. All the whole people anyị na-ebekọ on anyị na-agacha na platform ha anyị tụkwasara obi. Today they are nowhere to be found. This is that same prophecy. We are still operating on the equilibrium of prophecy of our leader Nnamdi Kanu. It is time to select the wheat from the chaff. Yeah, name. Today, as it stands, agwa m that na aga m esoro bụrụ ndị ga na-ekwu maka onye nwere onwe anyị. Aga m ekwe maka na oge awolide Maazị Nnamdi Kanu na-emegwakwu na eziokwu esokwere m odo nke ụwaziri ike aka mgbe obere nwa oge ahụ jos na-enene n'anya mana ọ na-anụ anya ọkụ n'obi mbekwanụ nwụcha mbịa mitie mpa njọbịa si ya kọtụgodoro m ka ọgụ Biafra ka ihe ọ ya ka m ji nwee more histories regards to that. My dad gara the ọgụ ahụ oshi my dad bi Uturu secondary Kano mgbe the loom ọ ka ịhụ na ihe ha mewara ya ọbụla tata ihe ha mewara ya ọbụla tata a na-eme obere ihe mee etipịa ndị be anyị. My dad woke up one morning ya kpọọ my mom si ya nne na mmiri na-eru n'igwe o na mmiri na-eru n'igwe ya zụpụ ha ebe ọ ga-adị mma. My mom apụta na-eji si ya lee n'elu ebe ọbụla dị dry ọjọọ ya si ka ekwanụ ebe mmiri nwa na-eru ya si ya na ọ gaghị aghọta na otu ha nọ na ha kwesịrị ịlawa Igbo. And going by my dad, the father always polygamous family. My mom, my dad, asatọ. I mean asa. Out of asa. Ano through my dad. Etipịachara ya ọkwa ihe nwanne na-eme ihe nwunye nke isi na-eme. O ji ọgwụ tipịachi aha. My dad abịa tọkwanụ mmadụ abụọ ahụ my dad mụrụ tọtụrụ ha nwụchara ejikwa ọgwụ tipịachi aha. Ifugo ya even according to my dad ọ sị na mgbe na enwere onwe ọ nọrọ 13 months n'afọ mmanya before amụọ ya ọka ịhụ na special child ọ nọ 13 months ebe a chọrọ ka eke gbuo n'afọ mana ọ mechara pụtara. Ọ sị na mgbe ọ pụtara according to ihe a kọrọ ya na ọ dị ka alịka enweghị na-eku ya ọsọsọ mmanya na-eku ya sịsọ mmanya na-eku ya. So on that note onwezi ihe ụta gbara na-enweta ya ihe dị fada meziri mgbe ọ gbagotere ebe 9 years ka ọ gara ya kpọpụzie ya boy ụta kochi gagide boy ga nwetazi onwe na north. When you later come back akwụkwọ gị eziokwu that same man apụga chukwu m otu si ehicha mma anya mmiri ihe niile ahụ ụmụ kọrọ ihe niile ahụ ụmụchara mme ya mụrụ nwụtara ya nwụ ya nwere onwe ya abịazie lụzie nwaanyị mgbe oge ruola ịlụ nwaanyị ya mụzie ebe niile nwunye ya mụrụ 10 in total. First issue always during the war before the war ka anyị nke ahụ nwụrụ then and our last born. So I did ụmụ asatọ ụmụ nwoke ise ụmụ nwaanyị ịtọ chukwu echizi n'aka ehichazie mmanya anya mmiri. So going by ihe awa DPM because anọ m na platform ebe o kretere IPOB DOS bla bla onye ọbụla nọ nga aha o posturu there that na IPOB as an organization anaghị eme exist which you and I know that no eme exist. Hụnanya mana some enwekwe ndị buke mentality of DOS na that platform. Who is Ngozi to say this? Who is Ngozi? Onye be etige with voice note. Who is Ngozi? How can she come and say that IPOB anaghị eme exist? Onye ka ọwụ ịgwa gị eziokwu agwọchara aga agwọ ntamu. Enweghị esi ọsọ gị gwọọ n'onye ara gbara gwọta ya ntamu ọ ga na-atamukwe. So IPOB as organization have caused us so many pains. They have caused our people so many pains. And those people that they died on their hands. The problem, my anger is that those people, they were all there with their mind, thinking that they are going to bring the freedom, but they never know that all what they are doing. Nobody any step, nobody any move, nobody anything gas that yes, we are progressing. Apart from that, protest. What I do every month, protest. I got protest in Düsseldorf. I was watching earlier on. I was watching KCIO 7,000 teeth. Somebody on a platform. Yeah, think that video go viral. See that now. Can you do us in a to bring Biafra? Yeah, that now DOS is not doing anything now to bring Biafra. How come we had an about PM? They're not doing anything to bring Biafra. All they are still doing is to create awareness, to awaken the people like Onye Prayer na phone, awaken their subconsciousness to know that I person fight for freedom after 14 years. It can create awareness. That na onye na-ajụ ya legoro ihe ọ na-akọ. So since IPOB na-eme ihe ndị Jews nwebe anything ha na-eme ya jụ esi ya na protest ha na-agara ọgbọgbụ ihe ọgara protest enwe protest o soro ga ya wụ na o nwere protest ya agba ya ebe o soro ga the protest ya si ya lekwe ndị nwere onwe. They are using protest as a yardstick of getting freedom. And the funny thing is that all these people, they don't even care to research. My brother, you are the one that the spirit of Biafra enters. Remember, you are once a follower of Syrian National Coalition. But when you rose up and said you must protect that mandate. It is your right. I did a kudoku. I am standing on the mandate because it is my right and I really need it. This is, if you see this Biafra as your own, you will do all what you're supposed to do to make sure that they are waiting for Mazen Nandekano, which is the matter of DOS. That's the matter I keep playing audio Mazen Nandekano. They will pick the one that will suit their narrative. If you know what you can do to bring Biafra, go and bring it for me. All I want is Biafra. I got to join an interview. See, what if your enemy with the Biafra? If my enemy bring the Biafra today, I will handshake my enemy and hug him and say, let's go home and settle. Simple. Man, this criminal saying, if not Onya, I got here with you. If not Onya, I got here with you. Who is Onya to declare Biafra? Who is Onya to come and say you are the one that will bring it?
Now, so
please, my people, as it stands today, no more ESN. ESN and they exist in our need. Anyone who the governor. Yes. Yes. Now, only so anything I'm going to now indicate Hajina fight against Imega. ESN. Haji na fight against Imega. Only baby Haga make your job. Can we cannot tarnish our image? Let our people hear it and hear it clearly. No more ESN, no more ESN, no more IPOB as an organization. We are now a full-fledged nation. Here, our country in waiting. Gini kind of China document has I got with a year with Telia. Here, have what I'm asking the Calona UN. Here, go and start doing something. If what you are doing is not worth dying for, that means you are not yet ready. One day, I agala with Tenya has I got with him. I agala with Tea. And I lend USB. If not for USB, one day, I didn't show now I can no afraid of. I can honor one day. I never could honor the news. At what I know because I never need it. Where I not to her.
Triple M, can you shake your phone very well? The thing is making some noise. Your voice is cracking.
So I can't wait to see that, my people. And equal that na ESN magazine exists. You and I will IPOD. But that one organization, I say, are you an oath member? Are you an this? Are you an that?
I am an indigenous person. That's what the IPOB said. I am indigenous person.
Yes. Now we are the indigenous person of IPOB. I am indigenous person of IPOB. By birth, by organization. I won't by birth. Organization they take and the organization and waiting one. A big organization in Mutemuro, natural freedom. Look at all what our brother read out here today. Do all repeat this program. Many countries that stands today as a nation, all we are for time cash we mute their own. Only in a minute.
Ndị IPOB ekwe akpara anyị ebe Maazị Akanu gwara that today we need to repeat the history of Syria, Somalia, Yemen.
That is what I'm saying now. Anyone that will any brokers of Mazen Dekano that will contradict the Arola Haroga, they won't go there. Even before back in the mayor. Before back in the whatever thing of AM crew, that contradict here Hano name. I gave back. Imam Madu no shoes here when I need the leader. Or no on our platform. This guy, Dr. Damages, Mbadro, our PM. See, I want no here now. Ya umba how can I say plan this? I want no here now. When you get take it over from him. PM said that now. When you wouldn't know here, which Yamokanega no ya. Takoshiza, which Yamania Ghanea. Now, any day he got our leader. Any election for any leader. Everything is in plan. It's everything. The platform to get to Biafra, John Grant. Any day he got me elected leader. Any day he got point one mother go on leader. Anything here. Even Madaro or Munga here or PM Korea. Then how comes OG PM Apple 24 hours? Yeah, a day memo. Push where any the leader. These are criminals. I am a citizen of the United States of Biafra, and I will continue to be. I keep repeating it. I am waiting for our international passport. I have my ID already. My people at the comment section.
Thank you so much, Triple M. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm going to end this here because I will come back again in the next 2 hours because there is a very important program of what is about to happen in Ireland today. We are going to hold it here. So until we come back again and do more for what we are doing. The total strength we are pushing is I want my country, which is United of Biafra. That is only country I have. The Government-in-Exile exists under the law or the framework of international law. Is any Government-in-Exile that issued a peaceful declaration and they maintain it. That is when the world said, we know you are here waiting for us. You will come in due time. Look at the history of what Mazakan asked us to do. Today, we said we need to recreate this history of people of Yemen, Syria, Somalia, then in addition, Sierra Leone. That is the previous video. We're going to analyze the Sierra Leone and the Yemen, their programs, and we'll continue putting everything together for it to become clear to you when you have a clear mindset. Only one government in exile, United States of Biafra, like the people of Namibia, people of Algeria, people of Poland, people of Lithuania, when they transition to government in exile, there is nothing else anywhere. Nothing like any organization anymore. We have ended. Look at this, look at Namibia, look at Somalia. Transition from their first government, from the organization into a government in exile. The government in exile is the one who declared the lost territory of people of Somalia. That is where we are. Whether like it or not, the ideas, the template, the road to Biafra to become a country is not in your hand. It's not in my hand. Is in the hand of what USB has done. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said January 1st, 2021, that through the history of Yemen, Syria, and Somalia, that Biafra will become a nation. That is where we are. What is their history? They transitioned into government in exile. What did they do? Did they went to government in exile and start having beers, start taking nice drinks and champagne? No, they start work. They work in exile for 10 years. They achieved recognition. They came back with the help of other countries and take over their territory. That is where we are. Reason. What makes you a human being is the ability of you to reason and reason, think and rethink. Forget that envy, forget jealousness, forget hatred. Leave those things. Your mindset will clear off. Then you come out of this delusion of you and IPOB. And that also enables you to move out from syndrome of hear and forget. And also, once you do those things, the syndrome of hatred, his business, his organization will leave you. Pray for that spirit to leave you and believe that in you, as we declared, I am a citizen of United States of Biafra. I am not a member of an organization called IPOB. It does no longer exist. The end point, United States of Biafra. From me, from here, have a wonderful day. Until you come back again in Biafran time, 8 o'clock, very soon, we'll be back again. Thank you so much. One of my people. We move.